Now, here's where people are going to get pissed. And I think it's the truth. This is my prediction, man. This is not my best case. It's going to sound like my best case, but it's a prediction. I think that Kittle is about as important to the Shanahan offense as any position, any player out there. And I think that Kyle Pitts is going to be gone, and we're going to grab the next tight end in the class. One of my favorite players in the entire draft. We are grabbing with pick 34, Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. Are you ready for this guy? 6'5", 250-pound pass catching, blocking, inline blocking dynamo. He's about as good at everything as you'd ever want. So what is happening, everybody? Hopefully you can hear me. As is standard, always tell me when you can't. It's Green Bean. It's Thursday. I'm super psyched. I threw that clip up because I wanted to bring up the olden days. Remember when we talked about potentially grabbing Pat Freiermuth, who is now going to be a Steeler, who is playing this very night in the Hall of Fame game, which is taking place in a few seconds. I'm looking at Dan Quinn on the screen, the recently fired head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, now in coordinator duties. So we're going to get into all that among many other things, but I have a super cool special show for you guys tonight. We are going to bring on two amazing content creators, and we'll start with Harrison Glaser. Here comes. What do you think of that? Harrison, what's up, my man?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I was on one time with you, but right before the draft, it came on and we talked, all about prospects. It was awesome. I had you on my show. It was so much fun. We were on for like 2 hours and change. Like, I think that was my longest show ever. We just had like such a great time. We were just talking and chatting, and I'm happy to be on. I'm excited to be talking about the Jets. My team's going in the right direction. So I feel good about everything.
Yeah, man. And it's good to have you back. I feel the same way. It's loose and easy to talk when you're around. And I really do like that. And we're going to do a lot of that tonight, man. It's going to be a good night. So we have someone else coming in. He's sitting right there. I'm staring at him right now. You can't see him, but I can. He needs no introduction, but he's going to get one anyway. This is the guy, the writer for the Jets on heavy.com. He's also the proud distributor of the Jetzone podcast. I love him to death. He's one of the first Jets podcasts I ever listened to, and he's here for us tonight. Let's say hello to Boy Green, Mr. Paul Esden. What's up, my friend?
Let's go, baby! Happy to be here, boys. We got Green Bean. We got Harrison. We've got a party going on up in here, so thanks for having me, everybody. Let's go! Football's back. Hall of Fame game. Let's go, baby!
You know what? So that's what energy, man. And thank you. Sincerely, both you guys. I thoroughly enjoy everything that you guys do. I like watching your stuff. I listen to you and appreciate and consider your comments, even when I disagree, which, believe it or not, does happen from time to time. So the energy, man. I know, right. And Paul, the energy you're bringing in, if I had to say, put your finger on one item that's making you feel that way, what do you think it is for you?
Man, it could be anything. But if I had to pick one thing, you had the gun to my head, like, Paul, pick something. I'm like, you know what? Robert gosh darn Saleh, man. You know what? The slapping the table, the getting the energy up, talking to the fans at the open practice, man. Going from night to day, Adam Gase. It's almost like, again, the name that shall not be mentioned anymore. Who is that? Robert Saleh. Look at this guy. And look at the couple of clips this week I shared on social media. Like, man, the excitement level of getting Elijah Moore, Elijah Vera-Tucker, Zach Wilson, and Michael Carter. He said to Connor Hughes, man, if you would have told me I would have gotten all these guys, I would have asked you, what were you smoking? And then that clip goes viral. The clip from today when he's talking about having all these youngsters on the roster, he's grabbing the wheels, and it's like you're on E on the freeway. Man, this guy's just so electric. He's personable. Obviously, he's got a connection to the locker room. Guys want to play for him. And I could just feel that energy. It's palpable in the air. It's infectious to me. I, by nature, am a passionate, emotional guy. So getting both of those together, man, that's what I'm telling you. It's getting me amped up. Little John Gruden, amped up, baby. Yes,
And
sir.
what a great comment that was. Just like you said, I mean, especially coming from Adam Gase, the fact that we can get a loose, unpretentious comment, like, I don't know, I would ask you what you're smoking. That in and of itself, it's so indicative of a complete sea change happening with the Jets. I think that's a good one, man. So Harrison, if I asked you the same question, the thing that has you most excited about the Jets right at this moment, what do you think you'd say?
I'm with Paul, man. I mean, it's a lot. I've been talking about it for a while now. We talked about a lot on my show. You know, it all starts from the top. And you mentioned Robert Saleh. I'm psyched about Robert Saleh, but it all started when Joe Douglas came here. I am the biggest Joe Douglas supporter. You remember, we talked about it in the past. I was saying that, back at that first draft, I was saying, oh, this guy's great. And everyone's like, forget what Robert Saleh's smoking. Everyone's like, what are you smoking? Like, the guy hasn't done anything yet. I'm like, trust me. After all these years of the Itzik years, the McCagnon years of watching, like, this is how things should be done, and then doing it the opposite way. It was just so rough, especially not knowing how to draft. Like, we finally have a GM that can draft, cultivating talent, building a team. That's what he's doing. And we see it now. We have competition at all these positions. Like I talked about it on my show earlier today. I had a special episode I did doing, training camp highlights. Talked about a cornerback 2. We have a legit competition between 4 guys. Brandon Echols is in the competition because the guy's 5'10", but he jumps a 42.5-inch 40, which is like insanity. Like, cover anybody, like ridiculous. In the slot, you got Elijah Campbell now in the mix. The running back committee's wide open. I've talked about it before. Our problem right now is we got talent. Like, it's a great problem to have. Like, I love that problem. Like, that's a great, after all the years of what we've been through, like, this is a great problem to have, man. Like, our problem is, we have all these guys, and who's going to win the job? Is it going to be Mims, or is it going to be Keelan Cole? Remember, over all the years, it was, well, we have nobody. Who's going to step up and be the guy? So it's great, man. I love it. From going back in the draft with Wilson, I feel like it trickles down. It trickles down from the top. The keys were given to Joe Douglas. That's when I knew things were going in the right direction. I feel confident that, even every decision he makes, even if I question it, I feel like it honestly is the right decision, and it's in the best, decision and interest of this team. Like, people talk about trust the process all the time. Like, I never got that. Like, I was like, we had Itzik and McCagnon. Like, trust the process. What does that mean? Like, exactly. Trust the non-existent process. Like, for the first time, I get it. Like, with the Mace situation, I point out how that's not a good benchmark with his age, with the way that Joe has the whole, control of the situation, been able to tag him again, pay him at the end of this year, see if he can do it a second year. It makes sense. I just feel like, I trust the process, and I'm excited with the whole direction this team is going in.
Yeah, man. And you know what? Like, I like what you guys did. I'll be honest. I was expecting to hear Elijah more out of one of your mouths. I was. The fact that you guys started at the most important places. That's why I love you guys. That's why I respect you so much. We're talking about Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. It doesn't matter who we have running around. If Gase is going to run Frank Gore instead, or play this loser in front of Elijah Moore, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's going on if leadership, if the top isn't number one in sync and number two actually know what they're doing. And we're seeing it, man. So I have an interesting thing to say here. I told Harrison and Paul before we started, and I was going to tell you guys, but admittedly, I forgot. I meant to a second ago, but I'm going to tell you now. At 9 p.m., we have a very big, important giveaway. Sack Exchange himself is going to come on here and give something away to one of you in the stands, let's call them. We're going to see who wins this Mark Gastineau card. But interestingly, I'm looking in my green room right now, and Sack Exchange is there already. So I have the feeling, if I know this guy at all, and I'm starting to, I think he might want to give more away than he said he was going to. And he probably has the idea he's going to come here and give something else because he can't possibly wait until 9 p.m. to give it away to you guys. So let's say hello to Sack Exchange, Brooklyn 929 himself, and see what the hell he's doing here so early. Sack, what are you doing?
What's up, guys?
Hey, there he is.
Hey.
There's the man. It's so great to meet you, man.
Yes.
Same here. Harrison, big fan. As you know, I always kind of throw out the support to you guys. I love the podcast community. And as you can see right here, this is what I've been asking. Now, I wanted Najee Harris, but I'll take Michael Carter. We needed a dynamic running back. That's what I kept shouting at.
Bro, we got a committee. We got a committee of some really good names right now.
We
really
do.
Making noise.
But,
Well, buddy,
Carter,
if you want Najee Harris, just look up at the TV, baby. Hall of Fame game. We're seeing Najee Harris on the tube, man.
I got it on right here. But
let's see what happens. Is he running it? Oh, no. Who's 14 for them? Who is that? McLeod. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of Najee tonight. So, Sack, man, what do we owe the pleasure? You want to show? You look good, man. I have to say, that white looks good, boy. I need to tell you that. You look sharp. You really do.
So here's a card right here that I will give out tonight as well. It's a Denzel Mims, although, you know, he's kind of in the doghouse from what I hear, but whatever. I still think he's a beast. Denzel Mims autograph card, numbered to 300, and it's also got a piece of the football and 2 pieces of jersey inside it.
So now, do you want to give that away now and then at 9 p.m. do the game? I'm going to let you run it, man.
I mean, listen, I don't want to disrupt what you guys got going.
No,
I know you
you're
got
good.
some celebrities on the show, so I want to just come in, do something, pop out, and come back in later. But yeah, so I've already drawn the number. It's random generated. I just don't know how I would see. Can I see the chat, or you guys can see the chat, right?
Yeah.
Well, how about this? Can you look? Are you in StreamYard? If you look at the comments, you'll see all the numbers come up. Do you see the comments, Zach?
Up next to where it says private
doing
chat.
This on my phone, and hey guys, this is my first podcast, so bear with me.
We're excited to have you, man. This is great. And I said before, you know, a lot of people have said on Twitter, like, you know, like everyone was giving awards the other day. You by far, man, you're the most generous, like without question. You have these giveaways, you give cards away to Jet fans, you know, you get them excited. It's wonderful.
Dude, now I can say this instead of typing it, right? I absolutely, when I say I love the community, I love the fans, I really do. And I also love, I was telling Green Bean earlier about doing a special giveaway, a really, really special item just for the podcast community. You know, exclusive giveaway just to you guys, and one of you guys win it, because you guys never really join in a lot because you want the rest of the folks like I do to win. But I think you guys deserve it as well, you know. But I was at practice, and people were coming up, and they were saying, hey, thanks for that Revis card. I didn't even know who they were, and they were telling me their screen names. So,
but that's the shit. Just like Harrison said. Well, just like Harrison said, we appreciate you, man. Like you said, the Jets community is special. When you look at the Giants, or, you know, just as our closest neighbor, as good of a team as they've been over the years, they don't have this tight kind of passionate community in the same way that we do. We're special, man, especially for being so terrible. Imagine if we won games, what we'd be like. So the fact that you consistently come around and give stuff away to the regular fans that you meet either on Twitter or on the podcast and everything, it's really awesome, man. Like, we're all so appreciative of what you do.
I appreciate it, and thank you. You know, here's the thing. People always ask me, how did this start? And it started because I was through with Sam Darnold before a lot of people were through with him, and I had a lot of his stuff. I mean, I was one of a big supporter. I wasn't sold on him coming out of draft, but I was a huge supporter. I have a closet full of cards, things with him, autographs. So I started giving them away, you know. And I said, I'm going to do this just till free agency to keep everybody busy. And then it went further, and it just kind of got a life of its own. So,
and now you're broke.
You know, I'm gonna disclose something so people know. People DM me and say, "Oh, you must have a lot of money. You know, wait, you're buying all this stuff." I'm gonna say something I didn't tell anyone but Green Bean. He's the only one that knows this. During that whole process that I promised I would continue to do it, I actually lost my employment. Really, literally lost my employment. And my own brother was saying, well, that does the giveaways. Forget the giveaways. You know, you got more important things. And I said, well, how could I do that? I promised them that I would do it until the draft. And God blessed me with another job, and it was fine. So I continued to. So I was doing it even when I wasn't working.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
I told him he was crazy, but he's a better man than I am. So
you know what?
You get DMs like I get,
where I gave a Wesley Walker, and we all know Wesley Walker was blind in one eye. We know that. And I gave away an autograph, and the guy that won it, son is blind in one eye, and says, we use Wesley as inspiration for my own 9-year-old who's blind in one eye. You get DMs like that, forget it. It touches you. You don't want you.
Dude,
There's
what an
people, some
incredible
kids
story.
that will write me can't even afford to buy a couple of cards. They win. They look forward to it. So it's very heartwarming. So.
Yeah,
But
that story is incredible. I forgot about that. You ended up telling me that day, and what an incredible story that is. And that's when you know there's more to this. Like there's something going on out there. When you put it into the universe, things start happening, man. And it's really cool. So, do you want to give away that Mims card now, and then we'll do the other one at 9?
I can't. I'm doing this off my phone, and I can't really see the. But I know the number, so. Maybe I can text you the screenshot, GreenBean, and and then whoever has that number.
Text Harrison, because right. I'm using my phone and my computer. So, guy, what's the number?
Yeah, send it to me on Twitter.
1 and what? Between 1 and what?
1 and 100.
All right, everybody. So go ahead and put your numbers in the chat. Pick a number between 1 and 100, and we will let you know when that number is. When it comes up, and that person will win a Denzel Mims card right now. Look, here they come. We got 17, 57, 37, 3 7s. Look at that. That's weird. Oh, wow.
Sack, did you send it to me in the DM?
No, I'm going to do that right now.
Keep guessing, everybody. Look,
guys,
Phil Adams is in there.
Boy Green 25. 25 for sure.
And when it's done, man, when it's all done when they're all done and they finally, whoever wins the Mims card, we got to do some Mims defending quick. Because I see some comments in the section about Mims being traded, and I would love to address that quickly.
We need to address
absolutely.
Steven, you're going to be
the winner. It's an elephant in the corner right now.
I just saw Steven Angle. I saw 25 drop in there. He's definitely the winner.
There it is.
I sent
25's there.
Yeah, and I see. Okay, so we have a winner. Do I stop them?
Do you see it?
We have a winner. We have a winner, we have a winner. Mr. Stephen Engel. Stephen Engel guessed the number 2. Yeah. Out of 1 through 100, the number was 2. You were close, bro, with 25. The number is 2. I could show it in the hold on. I could show it.
Oh, so Stephen Engel. Oh, Stephen
the number is 2. Out of 1 through 100, the number is 2.
Nice.
So Stephen Engel wins. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, man.
Steve was showing a lot of numbers out there. Smart man. Just boom, 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 boom. Smart man.
Have him DM me, and I will ship it out tomorrow morning.
Wow.
All right, so
awesome.
Steven,
thank you so much, Sack Exchange, man. You're the best, man.
No problem. Listen, I appreciate you guys. I love you all. Trust me, I'll be back at 9 o'clock where there's gonna be a ton of people gonna join this broadcast. So we'll see you at 9.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, Steven's gonna hate me. I think someone else might have got 2 before him. Hold on. Oh my God, Steven's gonna hate me. Oh no. The numbers went further up. I didn't realize how much further up they went.
No, nobody got it. Nobody got it.
Hold on.
Nobody got it. Oh, Joseph Schwartz.
No, we got to go back to the top. Yeah, from the top is one. It's Joseph
Schwartz.
Yeah, it's Joseph Schwartz got it first. He got it before everybody else.
How about this?
I saw a Stevens and I didn't see the other one.
Have Joseph DM me as well, and I'll give him something as well. Both of them.
Wow. He's giving everything. Everyone's joker out there.
That's on me. My bad, guys. I was scrolling and I saw the 2, but I missed the first one. So many numbers.
All right. So how cool is Sack Exchange? So what you're going to do is you're going to go on Twitter and DM Sack Exchange. His handle is BKLYN929, Brooklyn 929. If you type in Sack Exchange, a lot of time he'll come up anyway. But that's his actual handle. Make sure you're getting to the right person. BKLYN929, and he'll send this stuff right out to you. And Steve, you're the man, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Love you guys, and have both of them DM me. I'll take care of both of them. So.
All right, you're the best. We'll see you at 9 p.m.
I'll be back
dude.
at 9 o'clock, guys.
All right, thanks, Zach. See ya. Cool is that guy, for real. Like, how cool is
He's
he?
an awesome guy. He really is. There were so many numbers. I thought I went to the top, and I thought because there's so many twos. I thought it was a 21, and I didn't realize it was a 2. I thought he said 21 because I was going through it so quickly.
Yeah. So Stephen Engel and Joseph Schwert, you both are going to need to go ahead and DM Sack Exchange, BKLYN929 on Twitter, and he'll send that out to you. And thanks for playing. He'll be back at 9 p.m. and he's going to do a Gastineau giveaway as well. So Harrison brought up a good point, and I want to bring something up. Somebody told me today that there was a rumor that Denzel Mims may be traded to the Saints. Like, it's an actual
crazy
rumor.
town to me. That's crazy town. That makes no sense to me.
So we can start with you, Harrison. You seem like you're bubbling over on this one. What are your thoughts on Denzel Mims?
Well, and what's interesting is and what's interesting is it's kind of like, like we were talking about before, like for the first time in kind of ever, like going back to like the Chad Pennington days, like there's talent. There's actual people around the quarterback that have a high caliber of talent. And we're trying to figure out, is it this guy or that guy? I want to give a shout out to my guy CJ, who does Weapons Hot with me. His favorite thing he likes to say is you can't do addition through subtraction. And he's 100% right. And in this situation right now, even if Mims isn't going to be the wide receiver 2, let's say Keelan Cole wins, there's no way Mims isn't a part of this offense. Like, the dude is excellent in contested catches. In the one-on-one, he's excellent, and he's also very fast. And this offense that we have, this system is designed, like Paul mentioned, on my page, I tweet out a lot of, the media interviews, the quotes of the players, the interviews and stuff. The other day, the defense coordinator, the offense coordinator were talking, and in the interviews, they were saying the key to this offense is speed. You need speed in this offense to succeed, to get around the edge, to open up the play action pass, and in the running game and the passing game, and we have that. So Mims is a linear player, but even if he's just a linear player, he's still a linear player. He's going to play a role. He's a second-round pick last year. Like, I think you remember, like, we talked about this when it happened. Like, I was blown away. Like, right when they said it could be Cole, I was like, but wait, he just took Mims last year. Like, Mims is his guy. But remember, like we talked about, Connor Hughes kind of broke the news saying that Joe Douglas has been trying to trade for Keelan Cole for 2 years, which is actually pretty big news if you think about it, because Joe Douglas has only been here for 2 years, which means the whole time he's here, he's been trying to get Keelan Cole. So Keelan Cole is as much his guy as Denzel Mims is. So Vincent Smith lately has been in the role. Lately, he's been playing really well, so he could be interesting in the mix. But I couldn't see them trading away Denzel Mims. I say, even if he doesn't win the wide receiver 2 spot, he definitely has a role in this offense. He's definitely going to contribute. He was just drafted last year. I mean, does he win or not is one thing, but trade rumors to me are crazy town, unless someone's offering like a first-round pick. And if you're offering a first-round pick, then okay, we'll talk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and everybody has their price. So, Paul, I was actually listening to your podcast just this very morn, and you were talking a little bit about Denzel Mims. You were defending a little bit. So what are your thoughts on the potential of not getting cut, but actually getting traded, and in particular to the Saints? What do you think about this?
I mean, let's be honest. The Saints make sense. I mean, they are so strapped for wide receivers. They signed a lacrosse player named, what was he, Chris Hogan? Yeah, I think Jet fans are pretty familiar with that guy. So, like, they were so up against it. They signed him for a receiver. And Michael Thomas, who had the ankle surgery much later than Sean Payton would have preferred. So he's going to be out for a portion of the season. Obviously, the Saints are desperate for wide receivers, so the fit makes sense. But the thing that I think we're getting all kinds of confused with, and I talked about it a little bit on the podcast, the Jetzone every Wednesday. Check that out. But anywho, shameless plugs aside, Denzel Mims, okay, if you look at it, right, I get why he doesn't exactly fit square piece and round hole in the offense. But good coaches don't just say, this is the scheme. You either fit in the scheme or you walk out. No. Good coaches say, hey, here's my scheme. But look at Denzel freaking Mims, man. We don't have a guy like that in the roster that can win the 50-50 ball situation. Get all physical. You know that song that was about Denzel Mims, okay? That he is this mini Brandon Marshall. He brings a little bit of that chutzpah. And I think they're going to use him in different ways. And again, I think a reason he's not getting a lot of the reps right now, Harrison mentioned a little bit, is the kind of player that doesn't fit exactly in this scheme. So I think from the get-go, he's kind of working from behind because they are asking him to do things in the scheme that he's never done before. So it's a bit of a learning process, but That's why we're talking about practice, boys. We're talking about practice. I don't care if Vincent Smith is getting a few more reps than Denzel Mims. It's a rotation, people. Let's take a chill pill. Back up in the lounger a little bit, okay? Denzel Mims is going to be fine. What I'm going to say is we got the second padded practice tomorrow, or that was today, rather, and then we're going to get these preseason games. That's the most important. When I'm starting to worry, and some fan asked me this in my mailbag, when are you going to start to worry, Paul? How about in the preseason game? If I'm seeing Vincent Smith and Denzel Mims on the bench, sipping some old Gatorade, sipping a little agua, then I'm like, oh, okay. The coaching staff clearly feels a certain type of way about it. But we're not at that point yet. So people are overreacting. I don't care what reps he's getting. He's going to work his way up. He is a physical beast. He is a talented player. And he was a second-round pick from last year. Joe Douglas doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to hit the eject button out of the Batmobile this soon. So I think the trade stuff is a little bonkers. Again, the fit makes sense for the Saints. They are desperate for wide receivers. But for the Jets, again, Aaron Rodgers said it. Relax, everybody.
Yeah. Well, and those are really good points from both of you guys. And I'm a Mims fan. Like, I'm actually a Mims fan. And I would not blindly. I loved him coming out. I couldn't believe that we actually got him after the trade back and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that he played well last year. Obviously, the injury was disappointing and all that. Of course, we'd rather have those days back. But what he did on the field when Sam was able to find him and hit him were pretty good things. Okay, we saw that he can play at the NFL level. The idea that we're going to trade him, it's completely ass backwards to me. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute, because just like some people are saying in the chat, both Keelan Cole and Crowder are on one-year contracts, so we'd have to go back to the drawing board again. Even with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore in-house, we would have to go back and start to rebuild and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's wise. But somebody brought something up now, and just, would you guys do this? What if the Saints offered Lattimore for Denzel Mims? Would you do it? Harrison?
I don't think that's even an option. I can't see them offering Lattimore. I couldn't see them. I feel like it's even hard to entertain because it doesn't seem possible. I mean, is that a thing? Or the Saints talking about trade? Because I just don't see that as them. I wouldn't see that as. I mean, obviously, if that was on the table, that's something to consider. But I don't see that being on the table. I don't see that being on the table at all. And if we're talking about cornerback, but quick before we do, because Paul made a really good point before that I wanted to circle back to, because he talked about the system and, scheming to player strengths. And that's the biggest thing right now. Like LaFleur had a statement. I just wanted to quote it, bring it up. They interviewed him and they asked him about, this offense that was originally created, by Mike Shanahan. It's this unique wide zone scheme. It's not like a traditional West Coast scheme like some people think. It was created by Shanahan, altered by, Kyle, altered by Mike's brother Matt, altered by Sean. So they asked Mike about his spin that he's going to put on it. And he got really excited, said it was a great question. And what he literally said was, well, that's what I've learned from my brother, from Kyle, from watching Sean from afar. Everyone's taking it in their own direction and they do it based on their roster. You try to find the skill set that all these guys have and match that up. That's scheming to your player's strengths. And all I could think was, it's about time. Like, finally, that's the big thing. So that is a big thing right now. It's not like last year where the joke I made where we had a head coach who was like, I'd never seen anyone who tries to fit a round peg into a square hole, harder than Adam Gase. Like, that was his thing. So we have a guy that understands he's going to build an offense based on his roster. It's literally what he said. He used the word, incredible. Try to find the skill set that these guys have and match it up. It's wonderful. And it's what you need. And it's what you hope for, because, every player's different. You need to match up to your player strengths, your quarterback, everybody.
It doesn't seem so magical to have a coach who actually thinks, let me use these players. Imagine that. It's like, it seems incredible. So, Paul, if it was, now look, we're not talking about necessarily what's real. It was one of the guys brought it up in the chat. Would you do it? So we'll entertain it. If it was Lattimore for Mims, straight up, they're hurting and they want to put this guy up for whatever reason. Maybe they don't want to pay the contract, whatever. Would you do it if that was the deal?
How can I put this lightly? I would have done this deal 30 years ago. Yes, Mims, see you later. I'll pack your bags for you, pal. Sayonara. And quite frankly, as much as, it's quote unquote hard to entertain, I think the Saints would very much be willing to move Marshawn Lattimore. And the point is, they're in salary cap hell. They found a way to keep Ryan Ramczyk, who is also in the fifth-year option, against this first-world problem the Saints are dealing with all these guys coming up to pay, and they don't have enough money to pay him. So if someone could take him off their hands, the thing with Marshawn Lattimore, for people who don't know, the former Ohio State stud, is that, he's a very inconsistent player. On one time, he's Darrelle Revis. You're like, wow, look at him shutting people down. On the other end, he's getting toasted. So he's very kind of all over the place. He's super talented. And obviously, if you could, transformer every corner on the Jets roster and they could combine their powers together, they would be half the player Marshawn Lattimore is. So it would be an immediate upgrade. And I think, again, obviously, I don't think Mims would be enough for Lattimore. And I don't think I'm breaking new ground on that. But if you were able to entice them with enough of a package to do it, I think they'd be willing to move him because of the salary cap thing and them saying, man, next year, do we tag him? What do we do? They're going to be in a tough position. So a tantalizing enough offer, I think, would do it.
Yeah. This is Joe Douglas. He's going to walk away with Marshawn Lattimore in a first.
Yeah.
He fleeces everybody. I love it.
Isn't that a beautiful thing? This is the thing. I get it when Jets fans are a little bit apprehensive with Joe Douglas. I get the issues that people have. I'm kind of a realist in many respects. But the idea that you can't see that this guy is upper echelon where value is concerned, knowing how to do things and pull the strings and play the game, I don't know how anybody doesn't see it. And if the Saints are calling us for Mims, which again, I agree with both of you, I don't think it's necessarily real. I would be blown away if we traded Mims. But if they are calling, that means they're the ones that need. So that puts you in the position to be able to get more than maybe they would want to pay. Just like when Joe Douglas wanted to move up in the draft to get AVT. He paid a premium. Why? Because he's the one that wanted to move up. You have to make them want to accept that package and go backwards. So he did that. And I think Lattimore would be one of the very rare instances that I would consider the trade, or like Harrison said earlier, if it was a straight up first round pick, okay, maybe. I mean, because I don't know. But that being said, I love Denzel Mims' skill set. I think that he's a rare combination of size, hands, blocking ability, speed, all those kinds of things. If he takes a few more minutes to get it all together, so be it. The good news is we have depth for once, and it's going to be fun to see these guys actually play together. Don't forget, injuries happen too, man. I don't want to have one injury and then go all the way back down to signing Moncrief off the street and 2 days later he's starting or something like that. I don't want to do that again. And that's the scary stuff where right now we don't have to be afraid of it. So Sports MC is here. New York Sports MC is in the chat. He's asking us a question. I'm going to find it. Where did he go? He said he wants to ask us a question. Go ahead. No, yeah, go ahead, Harrison. Finish it up.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just going to say, because you brought it up before on the screen, it made me think, Mims, obviously, Denzel Mims, like you said, we'd entertain for a first, but that's a long shot for them to offer something like that. What makes more sense is somebody, I mean, you brought it up in the passing, it said Berrios to the Saints. That actually could make sense, because Berrios is a guy in the last year of a 4-year deal in his rookie contract. He's shined a little bit. He's shown what he can do, but he's buried. He's buried behind Moore. He's buried behind Crowder. If you can get like a third or even like a fourth for him with the way he's buried, him being potentially a free agent next year, that could make sense. And that's the kind of stuff we see Joe Douglas do, with Steve McClendon traded away for a 6th round pick. Like he's constantly accumulating picks for guys so I would say somebody like him, someone not like Mims toward the top, but a guy like Braxton Berrios, or on defense, I hate to say because I love the kid, but one would be like Foley Fatukasi. Folu Fatukasi is an up-and-coming star. He's 25. He's up-and-coming. He's got like an 80 PFF every year, but he's buried behind Quinnen, behind Rankins, behind John Franklin Myers. So, him and a guy like Berrios. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the kinds of things. Crowder.
It's just please. The name that we haven't talked about that's like obvious, Jamison Crowder. I mean, if a receiver is going to get traded, it's Crowder. And I think we're overlooking this because, again, Joe Douglas would prefer the youth of whether it's Berrios or whether it's Mims or whoever. Like, Crowder's the guy. He's the one who's in the last year of his deal, and they renegotiated it, not to a point where you can't trade him, but so, quite frankly, he was thinking 10 steps ahead that, hey, no one realistically would trade for Jameson with a $10 million price tag. A $5 million? Sure. And plus, any part of the season that already incurred would be taken off the $5 million. So it would be whatever the game checks are left. Crowder's the guy. If the Saints are calling they need a receiver, I would say let's talk about Crowder. But obviously, GreenBean made a great point that you don't want to start trading everything away and go, that worked out great. Boom, someone gets hurt. You're like, crap, wish I had Crowder. So, again, it's a fine line on both sides.
Where's Dante Moncrief? Where's Chris Hogan? Call Chris Hogan. I think he has a lacrosse game tomorrow. Get him before he flies out for the lacrosse game. Get him on the field. And that's the scary stuff. I think that's a good point, too, Paul, is that when it happened, when the renegotiation happened with Crowder, a lot of Jets fans said, why are you messing with a guy who's been loyal, a good soldier, all that sort of stuff? And I can appreciate that. I really can. I felt the same thing. I like Jameson Crowder, and he's an effective receiver. But if you look at it like what Joe Douglas could be doing, an idea of a trade, just like Paul said, $10 million, you're not trading him. 4.5, you can trade that guy, especially when a team is hurting, because Jameson Crowder is quality. He might not be, top 10 or anything like that, but he's a quality receiver. You can put him on the field, he can get you yards. And I think that if they did want to trade with with the Jets, that would probably be the guy that we'd be offering up, because then it makes room for the guys like Vincent Smith and Jeff Smith and some other guys that have a lot of upside maybe the coaching staff would want to work with. So good stuff, man. And I would be, my feelings would be hurt if Mims wasn't on the team. I'm rooting for him. I really am. So New York Sports MC chimed in and he said, hey, GreenBean, who will be the surprise starter and who will be the surprise cut or trade? So, Paul, why don't you take this one first? Who do you think is going to be the surprise starter, somebody we're not thinking is going to end up being a starter, and then who do you think is going to get the axe and surprise everybody?
Okay, this is one that I said on GreenBean show before, so I will repeat this one, and then I'll sprinkle another one in. It's a tease for an article that's coming out tomorrow morning. So my surprise one that I've been pounding the chest for is Isaiah Dunn. I think Austin, I think, has a lot of flaws to his game. I love the story, but I think he can have his gig stolen. And I could see Isaiah Dunn going from undrafted free agent, humble story, to boom, starter. I could see it. And speaking of crazy, Elijah Campbell, where a lot of you are going to go, who? He's a guy that I'm telling you that it's interesting that a reporter's going, Mr. Saleh, that interesting battle between Michael Carter II and Javelin Guidry looks pretty good. And Robert Saleh cuts the reporter off, goes, up, throw Elijah Campbell in there. Yep. That, to me, intrigues me, that Robert Saleh goes out of his way to bring up a name. And a lot of us go, Elijah Campbell, who the heck? And then you look at the roster. He's a guy that obviously must have impressed the coaches in that slot corner battle. And again, we're going to get to see these on full display, obviously at the scrimmage coming up on Saturday, but to a greater effect in the first preseason game, which we got Jets-Giants next week. So Isaiah Dunn's been my guy for a while, but Elijah Campbell, a guy that suddenly sprung on the radar today in Robert Saleh's presser at the nickel cornerback role, where obviously no one has stolen the job yet. That's a name where you're like, whoa, maybe he could be a guy.
Very interesting. So you see Elijah Campbell, huh? That's a guy. I'm impressed. That's a good one. Harrison, who do you see coming out of darkness? And who do you see?
I love that you brought that up, Paul, because in my episode today, this earlier in my training camp highlights, I brought that exactly up because I remember that. It was true. I tweeted it out this morning, that exactly. They, asked him how he felt about the slot cornerback situation with Michael Carter and Guidry, and he brought up Elijah Campbell, which is interesting because Campbell, he's more of like a DB, which is interesting. He can play safety as well as corner. I didn't think he was even in the mix, but even another one, which is interesting also, was you mentioned Isaiah Dunn. In that sentence where he mentioned Isaiah Dunn, what Robert Saleh said was, he said Isaiah Dunn and Brandon Echols have earned the right to run with the ones, was another thing he said. And that surprised me because when I first saw Brandon Echols, I'm like, okay, this guy is 5'10", about 180. He's a slot guy. He's super fast, runs a 4.35 40. He's agile. He's a slot guy. But then you see he jumps a 42.5-inch vertical. Like, that's insanity. Like, the equivalency, that's like he can cover a guy that's 6'7" and he's 5'10". Like, to jump a 42.5-inch vertical at that size, it's just ridiculous. So, and the fact that he was talking about him in the conversation, you know, where they asked him about the outside corners, and he mentioned Bless Austin, but he said Isaiah Dunn and Brandon Echols have earned the right to run with the ones. I think, you know, Echols might actually be getting a shot at that outside cornerback role. That was my take on that too. I felt that Brandon Echols, because of, you know, that ability to jump as well as he does and have that elite speed combination, might, you know, because we do see 5'10", 180 smaller corners on the outside sometimes. I think he's going to get that opportunity with Isaiah Dunn and Bless Austin. And as you know, I've been a big Jason Pinnock fan. Like, I haven't heard his name as much as the three of those guys lately for the outside slot, but I really like Jason Pinnock.
Interesting. So who do you think is going to slip away? Somebody that the fans don't even think it's coming. Who do you think is going to pop off the roster, Harrison?
You mean get cut?
Yep.
As you remember, it's interesting. We talked about it. Like, I was saying for a long time, Herndon could be a surprise cut. Because remember, I was saying how, you know, in OTAs and minicamp, and Paul's shaking his head, and I'm getting to that now.
I see him.
To that lately. I'm with him, and that's kind of the point. I tweeted it out today. So going back before at OTAs and minicamp, he's in a contract year. And you figure, you know, like Corey Davis last year, you know, okay, he had some mediocre years, but last year he balled out. He had his best year in a contract year. And Herndon in a contract year was having more drops than not and was running with the twos. So remember, I'm in agreement. We talked about it. I was talking about, you know, Tyler Croft, I really like, Ryan Griffin. Right. I know you're a big Kenny Yabo fan. Me too. I feel like I'd be afraid he would pass through waivers. I don't think he would, because he could have been drafted. So I think about that. So I thought Herndon could be a surprise cut, but man, since the pads went on, Herndon's been showing up. It's been pretty impressive. So that was my big call out on my podcast. I said that, like, you know, I think I mentioned, you know, when we spoke, like, other than Zach Wilson, every position can be open to me. You know what I mean? Like, I love competition. Competition breeds success. Like, if Keelan Cole wants the job, if Denzel Mims wants the job, people talk about, you know, they're upset that Mims doesn't get the job. Well, if Cole balls out, or let's say Vincent Smith is like an 800-yard year, you're going to be cool with it. Like, you're going to be fine with it. You want your team to succeed. That's what matters. So I love this, man. Like, I love this competition. And other than Zach Wilson, I feel like it's all wide open. Like, I feel like anybody can get it. Like, anybody just come and get it. And, you know, I'm excited about the potential.
So who's getting cut then?
But that's what's interesting. So that's the thing. I would have said Herndon, but what's interesting, since pads went on, he's been showing, man. He's been getting the majority of the snaps, and he's been looking good, making good plays. So that was my big thing. You know, my call out was if he wants it, he's got to get it. Like, I think anyone, you know, it's wide open right now. A surprise cut? That's tough, because honestly, like, I mean, I would say a surprise trade. If we go to surprise trade, Marcus May could be a surprise trade. It's very, very possible. Because, again, we talk about he's older in age. I mean, I like him. He was the team MVP last year. But, again, he's a 28-year-old going into, you know, his next year contract. So we talked about, you know, I've talked about how Joe Douglas holds all the cards. It makes sense. You know, it sucks from his situation. But, like everyone says, it's a business. When the business works on your side, it works great. Well, now the Jets hold all the cards. So that's the way it's being played right now.
Did you see that Marcus May? Our press is funny, too. They asked him 10 different ways that he was upset about the contract thing. They wouldn't let it go. But so I forget which guy in the press asked him, but he said, so do you talk about this with Jamal Adams? And his answer was, I talk to Jamal all day, every day about this. Joe Douglas might hear something like that and go, you know what? Get out of here. I don't want you. I don't know. But that could be a surprise one. That's on my back burner. Paul, did you answer? Who did you get cut?
No, I didn't. But I love that Harrison, just in case you ever want to run for office, they're like, Harrison, how are you going to fix our city? Well, that's a great question. Let me explain why I'm not going to answer that. And here we go. So that was funny at first, Harrison. That was great work. But now there's two names. One name I've been beating like a dead horse. And really, it's almost despite the fact that he's actually, apparently, according to multiple reports, doing well. Well, Michael Perine, again, I just don't see the fit. I just think he's just kind of a guy that can do everything solid, but he does nothing spectacular. And I think in a running back by committee, I think the key is everyone has a special skill set. Ty Johnson is explosive. Michael Carter has phenomenal vision. Like, you go through the guys and they each are like, wow, I see the skill set. I see the skill set. Perine. boy, you're there, but not really sure what you do. Like, he's quote unquote a power back, but like those are imminently replaceable. But I'm going to go even crazier because, okay, all right, LaMichael Perine, not a fit. Yeah, original take, Paul. All right, let's go even crazier then. How about this? Alex Lewis, hit the bricks, pal.
I love that. I love that. I'll kick him out myself.
That I'll tell you, first off, he wasn't even training with the team at first. So he takes the pay cut to stay on the roster. He would have gotten straight up fired. And then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to train on my own in Arizona. Interesting choice for a guy that's on the bubble. But again, that's neither here nor there. So he's a guy that I've circled, and I'm like, you know what? Looks like Greg Van Roten is the leader in the clubhouse for right guard. That battle's not over yet, but he's the leader in the clubhouse for that. And I could easily see them saying, you know what? We like the youth here. Screw you, Alex Lewis. Bye-bye. I get the experience level, but I could easily see them moving on. He's a guy no one's really talking about.
So it's the strangest thing. I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Paul, to me, sounds like this. It's almost comical. I thought you guys were messing with me because Paul was doing this thing and you were laughing. It's like this. Like I slowed the record down. Harrison's fine, but I don't know what the hell it is. So he saw me messing around with stuff. I'm like, what is happening here? So I'm glad I was watching the chat. I was watching the chat. You're good with everybody except me right now. So it looked like what you said was really, really top shelf, and that's all I care about. So let me answer this, and then so Paul, I'm gonna bounce you out real quick and bring you back in real quick. I'm just gonna try to reset you. Don't go anywhere, okay? 2 seconds. Speak, sir.
Hello.
Oh, see, it worked. I love when it works.
Okay. I was just about to leave. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Technology.
And I'm sorry. Like I said, it was only me, thankfully. I'm the least important when it comes to what you guys are saying. As long as everybody else can hear, I'm good. But so let me chime in on this one real quick for MC. I think the surprise starter and he's going to be the starter. He's going to rotation, but he's going to be the guy who has the starting position on our defensive line. Left end is going to be none other than Jabari Zuniga. He is going to be our starting left end. I think very, very highly of him, and I can't wait for the world to catch up to who this guy is. I loved him down at Florida. And I think he's last year was a weird year, man, as we know. It was a rough year. You can't judge anybody by last year. So it is what it is. And he's going to be my starter. My surprise cut, while I would say earned him, but I think he's not a surprise. I think a lot of people are kind of looking that way. Whether he's cut, traded, or whatever, we're looking there. So no matter what happens, I think it won't be a surprise. I think the surprise cut is going to be Ty Johnson. That's who I think. That's my surprise cut.
That would be shocking. That'd be shocking. Ty's been showing up.
Agreed. And I think that I don't think it's likely. Like I'm looking for surprises. And I think that the running back room is built in such a way right now that any one of these guys can make it. I do think Josh Adams is the likely odd man out, unfortunately. But I think that if Tevin Coleman comes to really play and stays healthy, and the other guy, I think Perine's a lock. Obviously, Michael Carter is a lock. I know you don't like Perine. I don't even listen anymore. Perine, to me, is a lock. I think there's no question he's making the team. So it's between Ty Johnson and Josh Adams, in my opinion. And I think if Josh Adams can just show up in the preseason, I think Ty Johnson might be a surprise cut. I don't think he's the lock everybody thinks he is. Again, I think it's unlikely, but that's who I'm throwing out there.
So Green Bean, real quick, I just have to ask you, what's the man love for LaMichael Perine? Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Well, Green Bean, we talked about LaMichael Perine last time on my show. Remember, and it's funny, Paul, literally what you said is verbatim been my take. My take since we drafted him. That draft, and kind of, you mentioned Zuniga, if I can change my surprise starter, I would actually go with Bryce Huff. Like, I think Bryce Huff's getting a lot of love lately. I was a huge fan of him, as you remember, out of, Memphis. I thought he should have been drafted. Great talent. I think, he can play outside linebacker, but he's made to have his hand in the dirt. dirt. I had him on my show on an exclusive interview. He literally said that he always played with his hand in the dirt. Like that's what he's used to. That's what he thrives at. I loved him when we took him. I think a surprise would be, I think people thought John Franklin Myers be on the outside. I think Franklin Myers dominated so much on the inside. I think he could potentially beat out Rankins, who's, remember, not as good as everyone thinks. Like he unfortunately, was supposed to be like a Quinnen Williams, but he never was. That's why we took a flyer on him. So Franklin Myers balling out last year. I think it could be him and Quinnen in the middle with Lawson on one side and then either Curry or HOF on the other. That's what I'm thinking. And I see that as a really, really dangerous defensive line.
I wouldn't be surprised with HOF. I'm a big HOF supporter as well. And I would just love it if some of these undrafted free agents like that we're all so high on. I mean, there's a very decent crop, whether you're talking about Bryce Huff or even Lamar Jackson or Javelin Guidry, who I also don't think is making the team.
Isaiah Dunn.
And I think, Isaiah Dunn, Hamilcar Rashid, lots of these guys, Kenny Yeboah. So there's a lot of potential in our undrafted free agents. My love for Perine I'm not like, it sounds like love because people are so, in my opinion, so kind of against him making the team. Like people just don't like him. I watched him in college. He runs slow 40 times. When he's on the field, he has that on-field speed. So he's been clocked faster while running from people than he is in the 40 times. He doesn't test well. So LaMichael Perine's averages in college were, and I might have these a point off or something like that. Please don't hold me. But it was like 5.7, 5.9, and 6.7 yards per carry. The guy knows how to get yards. He's a hard runner. Last year when he came on the field, there was a stat out there that might have been PFF, might have been somebody else. They put up a stat. When LaMichael Perine comes on the field, Gase handed him the ball almost 90% of the time. So he was rarely on the field when he didn't get the ball. So defenses were able to key on him. We had no offensive line. So there's so many reasons. I think LaMichael Perine did not get a fair shake, as we know with the Frank Gore, taking most of the carries and all that sort of stuff. And I think LaMichael Perine is going to surprise a lot of people. The coaching staff and Joe Douglas love him. And I think that he's going to be our running back numero dos. That's what I think. In my opinion, if Michael Carter wasn't on the team, he would be our starting running back. So that's how I see it. And I think everybody will just remember that when everybody comes around. If he gets cut, then go ahead and rub it on me. But
I don't think he's getting cut.
You're gonna see. He's gonna be, and everybody's gonna go, holy shit, man! Week 8, you're gonna be like, wow, this guy's solid. This guy's solid.
I mean, as you know, I felt the exact same way Paul did. Like that's always been my thing. Like since that first draft, I was like, other than Jabari Zuniga and LaMichael Perine, I loved every pick, and I just felt like both those guys were taken too high. They were taken later, I would have been fine with either one of them.
That's the funny thing about it, Harrison, is that in truth, I wanted
specifically just those two picks.
Yeah, but it's funny because I thought both of them were taken too high. Like I liked Zuniga. I thought he was a 4th round pick, and I thought Bryce Hall. LaMichael Perine was a 5th round pick. But here's the thing. I also thought Bryce Hall was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. So the fact that we got Bryce Hall.
He was. I had him too.
Right?
I had him.
So
well, I do draft eval. I'm a big guy with draft. And Bryce Hall, when Bryce Hall played, he arguably could have been a 1st round pick when he played. But because of the injury, it pulled him down so much. People were afraid. I figured he would probably go no later than the 3rd. Like that's where I had him pegged.
Me too.
I was shocked. Like next to Mekhi Becton, who was like that was my guy, like the offensive lineman I wanted over everybody. Other than that, like Bryce Hall was like my favorite pick. I loved that in that draft. So since we took him, you go back, you can see I've been saying he's the starter. Like he's going to be the guy.
Here's the thing, and let me ask everybody if they would feel better. If we took Bryce Hall where Perine was and Perine where Bryce Hall was, would everybody feel better?
Yeah, we took you and me talking about that. I would. I totally would. I'd be like, this is gravy, baby.
And that's the funny thing
totally
about
fine.
It. Yeah, so that's the funny thing about it. I do agree. I do agree that I thought Perine was taken early too. I did, but that doesn't change the fact that I like the player. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, I feel like again, you have a beautiful take, GreenBean, a beautiful take on Perine. It's beautiful. It almost brought a tear to my eye. How you explain Perine there, but again. The guy is slower than molasses. He's got the speed of a parked car. He's
average.
I'm seeing the comments here. Wow, he's real tough, real hard-nosed runner. Again, I can find that in the streets,
man. He was a power back in college.
Yeah, great.
He was a power back in college. Like, that's why I love Josh Adams, man. You remember my whole thing on Josh Adams?
We don't need a power back.
Yeah.
Like, if we need a power back, feed it to Trayvon Wesco, who's moving to fullback. I think we're good. We have enough different guys in the backfield. I don't think Perine gives me enough where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to – when we get to final roster cuts, we're going to start moving our way through here because they're different this year. Once we get to roster cuts, and they're like – Joe Doug's like, Paul, Boy Green, what do you think about this? I'm not pounding the table for Perine. Whoa, hold the fence. We need to keep Perine on the team by all means necessary. No, he's one of the first ones I'm like, see ya.
Yeah.
See you later.
Well, I get it. I do. I get it. I disagree. That's all. That's all.
Hey,
The last thing I would say on it, the last thing is I felt, the way Paul does, but I'm on to your side now, GreenBean, because not just talent. Like I feel the way I've always felt about Perine. That hasn't changed. He's too small to be a physical back. He's not fast enough to be a power or elusive back. That's always been my take. He's right in the middle. I always joke. Remember, I think I told you, he's either got to hit the weight room like a monster and put on a bunch of muscle, or get to the agility drills fast. Like, he's got to pick one or the other. But if you look at, like, Robert Saleh, for example, in an interview like a month or so ago, they asked him about the running backs. He talked about Carter, Coleman, he talked about Ty Johnson, and then Perine. That was it. There's only 4 guys he mentioned. And then the other day, Michael LaFleur was asked about the running backs, and he talked about all of them. But maybe I'm looking too into it. I talked about it on my podcast, but he starts with Coleman because he's got familiarity with him. He talked about Ty Johnson, how he really likes him. Talked about Michael Carter. Then he talked about LaMichael Perine. Then he briefly said something about Walter before he said anything about Adams. Then he said something brief about Adams. So my take on this is I think Walter and Adams right now are on the outside looking in, even though to me, if it were my choice, I would take Adams over Perine. I've been saying why a long time. But my vibe, and again, I'm going to get behind whatever Robert Saleh does, my belief is he believes Michael Perine is his power back. And it's going to be a committee of Ty Johnson, Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, and LaMichael Perine.
Yeah.
4-person.
And just quickly, I like what you said there, Harrison. In truth, I have enough faith in our organization right now, which is rare for me. I usually, the last 10 years, even before that, I didn't. I was always like, what are they doing? They let a Bigby go. Like those kinds of things. If they decide that Perines and Ty Johnson are gone, then Perine and Ty Johnson are gone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to make a big stink one way or the other. That's just what I happen to see. Like I said, I broke down Perine very detailed when he was coming out, and I liked him. Again, I thought he was a 5th-round pick, but it is what it is. I think you're going to fall in love with Paul. Week 8, you're going to be like, you know what? I want to hug LaMichael Perine. He got 94 yards this day, 2 touchdowns. I couldn't think better of this guy. Thank you, GreenBean. That's what's going to happen. We'll see.
That's possible. Like I said, LaMichael, my advice, if you want to take any, I just wouldn't go through the buffet line twice. Okay, let's go off.
Or hit the gym, bro. Hit the gym and beast it up. Get some more muscles on there.
He's super strong. You'll see. Plus, he's good looking.
Well, I was looking. He's about 215. You know what I mean? Adams is 225. Adams is much more solid. And Adams, you look at Josh Adams. Adams is 106. Yeah, but out of his 166 yards last year, 106 of them came after the contact. Yeah. This guy's the definition of a power back, and he's fast. I think he's faster than Perine and stronger. Like, I like him a lot. Really,
frankly. I'm dumping them both. Adams or Perine, and my projections aren't making the roster. So
interesting. It's going to be, as we get closer, like as we see a little bit of preseason action, see some of these elongated practices with the Green Bay Packers and the Eagles, it's going to be interesting to see who starts settling into their position, who starts looking like they're on the edge. And I mean, look, this is my favorite time of year, usually because we suck so bad once the season starts. But I legitimately like the eval stage. Like, I like it. I like looking at guys, who's working on this, who's improving, who's slipping. I enjoy it. It's going to be interesting, man. And again, if the Jets decide to keep 3 running backs and none of them are named Perine or Adams, whatever, I don't care. I'm fully supporting until they go out there and lay a bunch of eggs. I'm supporting this organization because I like what they've done. I like how they're doing it. And these are the types of things that I've been crying to see for a long time. And I'm happy with it. So it's okay to disagree. That's the real point here. So Sack Exchange is back. For anybody in the chat right now, we're going to go ahead and bring Sack Exchange from Twitter back in. He is going to be giving away a Gastineau card right now. Let's say hello to the man, the myth, the white jersey wearing man himself, Sack Exchange. Hey, Sack, let us see your face.
Oh, all right. Hold on. That better?
Yeah, look at that hat.
I love the
too.
hat, bro. That's old school.
Great hat.
I like that. I like it.
Well, I'm all about the old school jerseys. I always post to Woody to change them to that white jersey. I think I always send you guys with the Jets. It's so much nicer than what we're wearing. I don't even know what these things are. They're supposed to be wings. Yeah. I don't like the new logo. It looks like clip art of football. It doesn't look like we even. I don't like these jerseys. They look kind of. I don't know. I like the old.
It's going to be interesting, and we can talk about that for a few minutes when we get past the giveaway. We can maybe even talk about that. I have some pictures of some helmets and some options. Maybe we can see which kinds, which way you guys want to go. How do you feel about that? I can find those pictures quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be interesting.
I announced to Twitter, and Harrison, I DM'd you. I'm going to do 2 giveaways because this is a special night, right?
I'm going to do better this time. I promise. I got you.
So
I got you. I'm going to be on my A game.
Special as possible. So I DM'd Harrison the numbers correlating with each prize. And the first one's the Jetzone, but then I played on words on Twitter. I put, is there anything more? Moore. And this will be an Elijah Moore autographed rookie card. This is fire. The card's fire. It's a good card, and it's for my man GreenBean. I want to do something special.
It's beautiful. Here, I could show it. You sent it to me. I could show the card.
Yep, there you go.
Let's see.
Oh yeah. See it? Does that work?
Yep.
Okay,
so guys in the chat, Sack is going to be giving away a signed Elijah Moore. I guess it's his rookie card. Yeah. So all you have to do is it 1 to 100, Sack?
Yeah, 1 to 100, and the first one up will be the Jetzone.
Okay.
And Harrison has the number, so we may begin now.
All right, guys. So go ahead and
I'll
get your
let you know when you get it.
Pick a number between 1 and 100. He's going to give you the first one to guess the correct number.
Jason gets 250. Bro, it's 1 to 100.
There it is. All right, here they come, Harrison.
Hold on.
Here they come. Yeah, they all came.
I'm going to go through from the top this time.
Wow.
So this is going to be
so far no one yet.
No one yet. I know.
Keep it coming.
It's crazy.
Can people guess more than once?
Yeah, they can. Usually with me is I let everyone guess and then I'll say guess again. But in the live show like this, it goes fast. They can keep guessing.
So Joseph Schwert and Stephen Engel won the contest earlier. Stephen, I know you don't have Twitter and all that, so you and I will connect after this, and then I'll get you over to Sack Exchange, and we'll take care of that. No problem.
That's crazy. I don't think anyone's still got it yet. Nope. I don't think anyone has it yet. No, still no one. That's crazy.
You know, it's.
Oh wait! Someone got it. Hold on. You guys can stop. Someone got it. I just got to make sure no one else got it before we announce it. So you can stop sending the numbers. We just got to make sure no one else sent that number. I just want to give a double check because I don't want to screw it up this time. Okay.
What was the number?
The number is 7, and I believe Jason Hernandez was first. Someone else said it's second, but I believe Jason Hernandez.
John Heidel.
Legendary Dino Smith number. Very nice.
Oh, wait, no. Johnny Bravo. Sorry, Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo said 7 at 9:04 p.m. So Johnny Bravo has it first. Oh, no, Jeremy Cravat, too, at 9:04.
Jeremy can't win. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeremy can't win. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Mine won't go any higher. It won't let me go any higher anymore. I guess I can only see up to Parker Dugan. I don't know if there's any 7s before.
Wait, hold on. I'm double checking.
Jeremy is the first 7 at 9:04 p.m. That's the first
Jason
7 I have.
Hernandez. Let me see.
Because they were coming in really fast.
Yeah,
Which is great. I love it. I love it, man. Everyone was bringing the heat. I saw one, but then I went up and I saw that other people got it first. So I got Jeremy Cravat first with the 7.
Okay. So congratulations. Congratulations, Jeremy Cravat. As you guys may or may not know, Jeremy is writing a very interesting little series on GreenBeanjetsfan.com. He's keeping track of all the 2021 rookie quarterbacks for us, how they're doing in camp and what's going on in their situations. Every Tuesday, we release his new article. It's really been going well, and I think you guys would like it. You can find it at greenbeanjetsfan.com. And I thank you, Jeremy. It's going swimmingly, my friend. So you know how to get in touch with SAC Exchange. Sorry, go on, Zach.
Yeah, nope. So have Jeremy. Jeremy is the winner, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see someone in the comments keep saying it's John Amarello. There's like 20 people saying that, so I'm not sure.
I think John. I can only go up. I mentioned that before. I can only go up to a certain number. Like mine, I can't go up anymore. That's the thing. Mine
there's like 30 people saying Amarello. So.
Well, I'm a big fan of John Amarello too. John Amarello showed up at the Coney Island Cyclone and got on that bad boy with us.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. I don't know if anyone had 7 before Jeremy because I couldn't see 2 before him. It stopped showing me.
So have John. We'll make it easy. Harrison and GreenBean. So have John and Jeremy DM me on Twitter. This is love day. We're handing out love today.
Wow, wait, yeah. I think I see Boy Green also won it. Oh, Boy Green also got number 6. DM me after the show. I just,
exactly. So you guys are awesome, though, in the chat for getting our back there. It's like our chat on this platform stops at a certain point. Like we can only go backwards to a certain point. So
that's
it probably
the thing,
happened right before that. So we're trying really hard to look at them, but there are limitations sometimes with the platforms. So thanks to everybody in the chat for getting boy John Amarello's back and making sure that he got his beautiful Gastineau card. So now what's next?
It's a beautiful card.
So, and just a quick plug, on Saturday, I'll give out a couple of these guys here. As you can see.
Oh, that's cool.
These little mini helmets.
I love that.
Yeah. So we'll get a couple of them out on Saturday. So the next one's up is our blazing fast, our future superstar, rookie autograph, Elijah Moore.
Future superstar, guys. Real future superstar.
Truly believe it. I watched him.
Him and Carl Lawson have just been the most dominant things.
No one can
cover him.
Before we do it.
Try to cover him.
That's right. He's always open. It's funny. Somebody put in the chat earlier, I think it was Frankie from Flatbush. He said, FYI, Elijah Moore is open right now. So, and I was like, I meant to put it up there, Frankie. I'm sorry about that. That was a good one. But before we do the second giveaway here, I want to remind everybody of a few things. One is it's really easy to do, but it's greatly appreciated. If you could hit the like button on this stream right now, I would be so thankful. If you're not subbed to this channel, also right next to that like button is a little red rectangle. Just hit it once. You never got to think about it again, and that is greatly appreciated. I'm going to put Harrison and Boy Green's information in the description as well, and we'll do some plugs at the end of the show too. Don't forget to go to their mediums and subscribe and support them as well. And SAC Exchange, you guys all know, he's on Twitter, BKLYN929. And I thank you in advance for doing those beautifully lovely things. So, SAC, okay, what is it? 1 to 100?
1 to 100. Harrison has the number.
Yep.
And we can start it now. Let's go.
GreenBean, is there any way for me to see without like it locking me out? Like, is there any way I could see higher, or there's no other way?
It's just doing what it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, so it's 25. It's 25. I'm telling you, Boy Green, 25. I won't fail you twice. Wow, they're coming in fast and furious.
I know they all come in at the same second.
They do. That's the problem. So I scroll back up, to try to see if
we search not Future Boots 3,000.
Oh, someone got it. Someone got it. It's over. It's over. Someone got it. Someone got it. You guys can stop guessing. Somebody got it.
Number?
I just want to make sure before I say that we won't say the person's name. The number is 1. I have blunted Vegas at 910. I'm trying to see if anyone said it before.
Okay, I'm double checking. I'm at the top number right now. The first number is Brian Smith.
I didn't
number
see
37.
it in the top couple. Okay, no one else has it. So this time it's official.
Nice.
It is. This time we got blunted Vegas officially number 1. He's the only one that has it.
Congratulations.
So
and that's a special one, bro. Mims is a rookie signed. Hold on to that, because like we talked, him and Zach Wilson putting them together. That's gonna be a special combination.
That was Elijah Moore, right? Elijah Moore. Right.
Yeah.
So no sweat, man. It's a lot going on.
I just
so
wanna,
don't forget, you want to go, if you want to, what you got to do is DM Sack Exchange at BKLYN929 on Twitter. Just go ahead, send him a message, let him know who you are, and he will send this to you free of charge, which still blows me away. And you are the man, Sack Exchange. Thank you.
It's incredible that you do this, man.
And listen, guys, just keep up the good work. I enjoy all your content, and I try to really, literally go to everyone's podcast and watch everyone. Very difficult. There's so many of you, but I got to hang out with Jets Media, Richie of Song GreenBean on Mondays, the camp on Monday, and it was cool. And I had Gotham City there, and it was like a little reunion. It was awesome. I really can't wait to see all of you, including you, Harrison, and Boy Green, everyone. I want, I love the community, and I love you guys, and I'll be at the green and white. So if you see the jersey Sack Exchange, I won't be wearing Carter, but I'll be wearing my own Sack Exchange jersey. If you see it, come up, say hello. I might have a card.
What number is it? What number is your Sack Exchange jersey?
99.
Good, as it should be. Well done, sir. So I want to say
Gaston was your favorite?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
I speak to his sister a lot on the Twitter, and I always wish him well because he's sick and whatnot. And she's awesome, Kelly, awesome lady. GreenBean, you were asking me something?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, Blunted Vegas also is an old head like us, and he doesn't have Twitter. So listen, Blunted Vegas and Stephen Engel, comment in this chat. Like, I mean, in underneath this video, just leave me a regular comment, not in the chat, in the comment section, and you and I will take care of. I'll get the information over to Sack Exchange for you, and we'll take care of it that way. Okay. So we don't want to see you lose out on your winnings here. So, and Sack Exchange and I might just have a little something going on for the green and white scrimmage. For those of us who can't be there, we're working on some footage and some other sexy things for you guys. So we'll let you know a little bit closer. But this is exciting times, man. And
yeah.
Sack, you are the man, and you make it more exciting, my friend. I mean that.
No, I'm pumped up so much for this season, and I know Harrison knows it intimately. I wanted Deshaun Watson. we went with
we went back and forth a while, man. For a while,
the dream was coming so close, and I'm happy that, man, we really got something to look forward to. Don't we have? I mean, we have literally at the skill positions young, budding stars. That, I mean, yes, they have to, they have to work out, but it's something exciting at the wide receiver, at the running back, at the quarterback. I mean, and I still like Yeboah. I'm not giving
Hell
up.
yeah, you do. My boy.
Guys, I love you, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks again, Sack Exchange.
Thanks
Everybody,
again, man. It was awesome.
Go ahead and make sure you're following him on Twitter, BKLYN929. He does this stuff all day, every day. He's the best. And I'm so grateful for him, man. Like, really. He's, this is real. You know what I mean? You see two people guess a number. Okay, I'll give you both something. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? It's about as good as it gets. So, congratulations to all of our winners. Now, let me tell you this, Paul. The Hall of Fame game went off on me. I can't seem to get the channel back. I'm a streaming guy for whatever reason. Yeah. Anything
it's a low scoring game.
In the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it's a 3-0 game. Cowboys are winning, but the thing that I'm intrigued by is, again, not just the score. I'm a preseason freak, but I just love, like, Dwayne Haskins getting a second opportunity with the Steelers. He's been getting some run, obviously, with him in the game, switching off from Mason Rudolph, who started it. Najee Harris, obviously. On the Cowboys side, Micah Parsons out of Penn State. You're a Pat Freiermuth, Penn State guy, so Micah Parsons on the other side. So, I love seeing all those kind of storylines myself. So the game has been, again, nothing crazy scoring-wise, obviously, but to me, those are the things I've been watching out for, and it's been fun to watch.
Yeah. I know. Has Freiermuth caught any passes or anything yet?
No, I think he's probably dropped a few. Yeah. Not great on the Freiermuth train. I made that up. That's not really true, but I'm not a big Freiermuth guy. But I love playing that at the beginning.
Oh, bro, Freiermuth is, man, he would have been a good pick. I understand it made sense not to go tight end that high. Like, I wasn't even ready to go. I wasn't ready to go positional. Well, it could. It definitely could, especially with a guy of that talent. Like, he's worthy of a pick like that. But even a wide receiver, I was thinking, wide receiver, running back. I liked the guys we had. Like, I liked the talent that would be put together. There were other positions I wanted to see addressed, like a lot more higher in the draft. But then, ironically, with wanting other things more, you go and get more, and you're like, well, okay then. Because Moore was amazing. Yeah. Like, this guy, I was immediately like, well, I didn't want a wide receiver, but I'm glad it was him. Like, I just loved everything about this kid.
No, I'll tell you what, I feel the exact same way. Like, I was looking for a receiver later. There were other positions I wanted to, but the fact that it is Elijah Moore, like because wide receiver still was a position of need. And the fact that you have, and we all saw this on Flight 2021, they had him rated as their 16th overall player. The fact that that guy is sitting there at 34, it makes sense not to pass on him again. And did you see that little blurb that came out about him today? I think it was Connor Hughes. He said he wrote down
great article.
Wasn't that good? So he wrote down the names of all the receivers that were. Yeah, that's incredible, man. Like, hey, man, bring that chip to the game, buddy. We don't mind. You can bring all the chips you want.
And the second thing,
everything about him.
The second thing that was cool, so it's okay. So he has the names, and when he's brushing his teeth, he's going Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase. Like, that's great. And then apparently the other thing that he had on there was Justin Jefferson's stats from last year. Just the random numbers on his thing as motivation to say that record-breaking year, I can top that. That, to me, I love that kind of stuff.
Me too.
That pumps it all up, and it should. Like, man, that's the bar he's setting. Again, like one of the craziest rookie receiving seasons of all time. Man, Elijah Moore, he living up to the hype. I can't wait to see preseason and actual games to see him on the field because, wow, he's an exciting player.
No, I know. Without a doubt, that's the mark of greatness. That is literally the mark of greatness. I mean, shout out going back, back in the day, GreenBean, you can get this one. Another guy who was famous for doing stuff like that was Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice, said he was going to prove everybody wrong for everybody that went above him. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, Elijah Moore man, he checks everything. Like, I can't talk about this kid enough. Like, the best slot wide receiver in football, period, in college. Arguably one of the best wide receivers. Never dropped a red zone target ever. He's unbelievable with his speed, agility, but not even just on the field, off the field. The kid is highly, highly religious. He's very centered. He knows what's right and wrong. He's a good person. He does charity, from what I've heard. He cares about his family. He checks every single box you would look for on and off the field. And we just see him lighting it up, like him and Carl Lawson, like day after day after day. These two guys are so special. And we're just not used to it because, last time we had a great edge rusher like this was 20 years ago. It was John Abraham. So we're not used to this. And same thing with wide receiver. I thought back, the last time we had a wide receiver of Elijah Moore's potential, a guy that should have gone 23, could have gone even 15 possibly, one of the best wide receivers there was, you got to go all the way back to Keyshawn Johnson. He's the most talented wide receiver prospect we've ever had since 1996. So I think that's why people are so shocked with Elijah Moore and shocked with Carl Lawson, because we haven't had this in a while. But thanks to Joe Douglas, we've got it again.
That's right. And the character stuff is big too, man, because it's not just like, oh, we only want good people. It's providing the work ethic that they require for their players to be able to build the team that they want. I think it can't be undersold to me. Those aspects of the player, like you're talking about with Elijah Moore. So I want to get to a super chat. I forgot to even mention those. I mean, you see, we do a good job of reading the chat and trying to get all you guys included. In the event you want to make sure your comment gets through, super chats are always appreciated. So we have one from John Heibendahl. Thank you, John. I appreciate it, my friend. Jets look good in camp. My expectations are getting higher. Can the Zach attack score 25 plus a game? Let's go. Can't wait. Thank you, John. Paul, what do you think? Can the Zach attack, you think we can score an average of 25 plus?
Hell yeah, we can. You see the weapons on this team? Elijah Moore, Keelan Cole, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, Tevin Coleman,
Perine.
And and again,
so many more.
the reason why they didn't go for a tight end in the second round, they had that position locked down with some guy named Chris Herndon. Not sure if you heard of him. But anywho, we can get into that maybe a little bit later. But come on, man. With those kind of weapons, hell yeah, he could score 25 points a game. This is an offensive league, man. And when you look at the Jets corners, okay, hell, they're going to have to score 25 points a gosh darn game. So, yes, John, thanks for the $20. Way to throw that in the pile, man. Hell yeah, they can. Get pumped. Get hyped up. Let's go.
Oh, I love it. That's a good answer. Harrison, you want to add anything to Paul's energy?
Yes,
there?
I agree with Paul on the offensive aspect. I mean, it definitely can happen. I keep pointing out, where people are saying, oh, Zach has a great practice here. Then he has an okay practice. It doesn't look as good. He has another great practice. People are freaking out. He's a rookie. That's been my biggest thing. Like, people have to remember about Zach Wilson. Like, this whole logic was because with Sam Darnold, he was going into his fourth year. He was a fourth-year quarterback. At that point, come on, it was, for lack of a better word, it was shit or get off the pot at that point. I mean, everyone was talking about rookie reset, right? Rookie reset. Well, we got that. I keep saying the big thing is we need to reset our mentality to remember that it's a rookie quarterback. We got what we wanted. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. There's going to be learning curves. The question is he constantly making better decisions? Is he doing better with those, whatever he did wrong, is he making the right decision next? Is he not making that mistake again? The verdict has been yes. Everyone's solid LaFleur across the board. They talk about his football IQ, how I've talked about how he's a football junkie, he's a film junkie. He's constantly learning the game. He's always looking to get better. And like Paul mentioned, all that talent, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, yeah, they could do it. But my big take would be they don't really need to, because this defense is better than it gets credit for. So people talk about things that they're happy, like what do they like most on the Jets? Well, GreenBean and probably Paul, I mean, you're probably around my age. You could agree with me. For the majority of my life, it was always about the Jets defense. Like, it was always about the Jets defense was the best part of this team. Well, if the Jets defense is always the best part of the team, well, a Robert Saleh defense is made or broken with getting to the quarterback. That is exactly how it works. Consistently get into the quarterback, consistently causing pressure. So I think Zach could put up 25 plus a game, but I don't think he's going to need to, man. I'm excited about that defensive front. Paul mentioned the cornerback position. I think people are sleeping on guys like Bryce Hall. I've said it. I think it's going to be Bryce Hall lockdown season. I felt, last year, I thought, he could be a starter. He was going to be a starter. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was, as quick as he was, in limited play, in a bad system. We talked about how bad Adam Gase was, how bad Greg Williams was. Well, he looked like a CB1 amongst all that crap and chaos. So that's why guys like him, guys like John Franklin Myers, HOF, that looked good last year, I just can't wait to see what they do this year, man. I just can't wait. But that defense is about getting to the quarterback. It takes the pressure away from the corners, and I think that's going to be the big thing. I think it's going to be hard for teams to put up points on this defense.
I love Bryce Hall.
Go ahead, Paul.
Let me ask you, just follow up. So Bryce Hall, we're on the same page. I love me some Bryce Hall. The fact that they got him in the fifth round is, again, I don't know why Joe Douglas isn't in prison for that robbery. But, again, that's not my job. That's above my pay grade. But what about Bless Austin? Yikes. What about whoever wins at slot? Michael Carter, Javelin Guidry, Elijah Campbell, for God's sakes. Like, that's what I'm worried about. Sure, Bryce Hall, let's just say he's the second coming of Darrelle Revis. Okay, phenomenal. But what about the rest of the team? That's what I'm worried about, quite frankly, the rest of that secondary.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly the point.
Hold on. So, and that is a good point. It's funny on your on the Jetzone podcast, which Boy Green is the host of. He said it today. It actually got a laugh out loud. I was listening to it when I was driving, and he said he was leading into it. And he said because the cornerbacks suck on this team, and I laughed out loud. And here's the thing: we can talk about the potential one way or the other. I actually am extremely high on Bryce Hall. I was living in Charlottesville. He was at UVA. He was the biggest thing since sliced bread over there. It was fun. And I was really hoping, I couldn't believe that we got him. So I'm tickled with it. And I'm really high on his career. But that's the thing. We have nothing but question marks. In truth, even after Marcus May, LaMarcus Joyner might be going back to the safety position. He might be good. Ashton Davis is hurt again. So we don't know. We have a lot of question marks. But here's the silver lining there. If you tilt toward positive, the silver lining is, this is how the Legion of Boom ended up being the Legion of Boom. They had an undrafted free agent in Cam Chancellor. They had a 6th round pick in come on, what the hell is his name? Sherman? Yeah, Sherman. Yeah, Sherman. But a lot of people were cautious about all those guys, these unproven guys being together. But Pete Carroll decided, I want them to get the playing time. And there's more to it than that, but just in a very simplistic way, they threw those young guys into the mix, and they ended up being so cohesive that they created one of the great defenses of recent memory. There is potential for that here. Now, we don't know, so there's absolute reason to be concerned. And like Harrison said, we're really counting on this pass rush we're talking about actually being a pass rush. I love that they're going to 4-man line. I prefer 4-down linemen. I love it. That's Jets football to me. The South Exchange, even the Loggeman, Bird, Mercer, Washington years, that was 4-down linemen. I like that pass rush. So I'm really happy, but it's going to be contingent upon that pass rush actually doing their job and being what we hope it can be, for the pressure to get taken off the cornerbacks. And if that does happen, guys like Bryce Hall, like Blesson Austin or Pinnock, whoever ends up starting, will have that little bit less intensity to become who they can become. And I think that'll be beneficial. So it might just go that way for us, but there's nothing but question marks right now. And I think those are some pretty good points, man. Now, I wanted to show you guys this just for a heartwarming moment. Blunted Vegas, who just won the most recent contest, says, I'm texting my kids that I won. I'm so excited for more, and this is awesome. I will treasure that card forever. Thank you, guys. That is why this is so cool right there. Thank you for letting us know how you feel, Vegas. He's a very consistent supporter of the show, and I love having you around, man. And it makes me feel good. Like, that's the whole thing. Isn't that cool, guys?
And I just got to jump in to say that, again, I don't know how Sack Exchange, and you mentioned he lost his job somewhere in here. How the hell is he able to afford all this? He must have some sort of long-lost billionaire father or something, because I just don't understand how this is even possible. But the fact of the matter is, to him, he's just giving back. But in his mind, he's just doing what he's doing because he's a really nice guy. But for a Blunted Vegas here, it's going to make his life for the rest of his life. That one small gesture. So again, Sack Exchange is a philanthropist. He's the best of the best. Bill Gates. The Apple guy. Boom! It's Sack Exchange. Right. So thank you so much to Sack Exchange. Shout out and awesome. Congratulations, Blunted Vegas, and everyone else who's won so far. So cool to hear.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, if I may quick, if I could just jump in because the whole cornerback situation,
I'm
not going as far. I'm obviously not saying it's not like we got Darrelle Revis on one side and Antonio Cromartie on the other. We're not at that point yet. I mean, I honestly do believe that Jason Pinnock and Bryce Hall could be a duo like that. I really, really do. And I've given the stats as to why. But I don't think it's the same, to the other extreme where we suck, especially at the slot corner position. I think, me and GreenBean, you and me have disagreed on this a lot. I think Javelin Guidry was the reason they didn't re-sign Brian Poole, because, Brian Poole was one of the best slot corners in the whole NFL. And when he came out, in comes this undrafted free agent, and he didn't skip a beat. I mean, he didn't look bad. He played well. He only graded slightly below Poole in coverage, and he was an undrafted guy. And then we just drafted Michael Carter, and I think he could be even better. I love Michael Carter so much. I think he could beat Guidry out for the slot. We mentioned Campbell's in the mix now. So I like the two of them, but even now we got Campbell in it. At outside corner, we said Hall's got that CB1 locked down. Well, CB2, it's a competition. Maybe it's Bless Austin. Maybe it's Jason Pinnock. Maybe it's Isaiah Dunn. Maybe it's Brandon Eccles. Maybe it's dark horse Lamar Jackson. The point is there's all these guys in the mix. All you need is one of them to step up and be the guy. If just one of them can be a decent CB2, then with Hall on the other side and a decent slot corner position situation, especially with hybrid linebackers that can play in coverage. Guys like Nasruddin, guys like Mosley, now that he's down to 231, which is just insanity to me. I thought that guy was fast when he was 250. I'm convinced CJ Mosley is going to be covering Julio Jones at one point. He's going to be put me on him just so I can show you I could do it.
That'd be great.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but Bryce Hall is quarterback one because who else is going to be? I mean, his competition is terrible. I mean, again, I'm a huge Bryce Hall fan, but come on, look at the rest of the room. So he's
well, I think if they would have brought in Steven Nelson, I think he still would have been CB1. Nelson was always a CB2 his whole career. There's nobody we could have brought in that would have been a CB1 except Sherman. And Sherman, obviously, I felt like if he was coming here, it would have happened a long time ago. Him and Sal had a relationship.
Again, I just think you could make an argument that the Jets have the worst quarterback group in the entire NFL right now. It's so inexperienced. It's so unproven. And again, I claim to be an eternal optimist, the self-proclaimed biggest Jets fan of the world, glass half full guy. That's my energy, optimism. But again, when I look at these corners, I'm like, I don't see it. Maybe, and I've seen a few comments so far, so shout out to all these people. How do we know they suck? Well, how do we know they're good? We don't know.
It goes both ways.
I've seen nothing on tape or inexperience that leads me to believe, woo, we're great there. We're going to have to see what happens. And when you look at some of the teams you're going to play, the Bills, I know no one wants to talk about them because they're the Bills, but Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, and all those weapons. Like, this secondary is going to be tested. Tom Brady a couple of times. Like, and again, I just want to go and just peek through the fingers and like see what happens again. Because as we've already talked about throughout the show, Robert Saleh is betting on his front four getting there, and I hope he's right. Because if he's wrong, cover your eyes.
We're in trouble.
He's not going to be back to the Packers week. And let's hope he can quickly get back into game shape. Carl Lawson has been a beast. That's one guy. The other edge, John Franklin Myers got hurt earlier today. Vinny Curry's out till like week 2. And you start looking at the pieces, you're like, wow, we're losing guys left and right here. Again, I just have concern. That's just on me.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I think that's fair. Like here's the thing. I have hope. I tend to be an optimist too. I do. I don't think I'm a homer, but I'm close. You know what I mean? So, but here's the thing. I do think that we'll see some progress. I think the guys will have their good games, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to draft a cornerback with our first round pick next year. And I think that's
you got to trade up. Yeah, get him.
I think that's what's going to end up happening. So they may play well, and what we really could be looking at is testing these guys, really seeing how they fare for other cornerback positions, depth, cornerback 2, cornerback 3, cornerback 4, whatever it is. But I do think it's a good thing because this isn't our Super Bowl year, man. Look, of course we can make it. Everybody yells at me when I say that. And yes, I'm in. If we're rolling, we're Cinderella, I'm in. But chances are this isn't the year. So with it not being the year, why not make it an Uber evaluation year? Let's see what these guys have. You know what I mean? But you're right, Paul. You're both right, really. And I'm excited about these guys too. But if I'm being real, I'm nervous because I don't love LaShawn Austin, and he's probably going to be the starter come week 1. That's who I think is going to end up starting. And I have high hopes, but I think a lot of them, like Lamar Jackson in particular, they need some time. They need a year, 2 more years before they're ready. But I like that they're going to get their chance this year. So it's going to be interesting. But I'm really psyched about that pass rush. I think it's going to be something, man. I think we have something. Jabari Zuniga, Jabari Zuniga, everybody, 12 sacks. So what else do we have? So let's talk tight ends for a minute. What do you think about tight ends? So we have on our team right now, we have Chris Herndon, we have Ryan Griffin, we have Daniel Brown, we have Trevon Wesco, who's, we can talk about that in a second. And then we have Tyler Croft, Kenny Yeboah, and is O'Shaughnessy still on the team? Is that guy still here?
I don't think so.
I don't think he is. So that's our guys. Who do you think legit? Number one, how many tight ends do you think we're going to hold on to this year? And who do you think it's going to be if you had to make a choice right now, if you had to bet on this? And Paul, I'll start with you. Who do you see making the team, and how do you think it's going to break down?
Again, folks, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I don't care if it's on fire and I'm the last one left. Toot, toot, all aboard the Herndon hype train, baby. So again, I'm on the Herndon hype train. He's going to be the star of this tight end group. But if we're talking about, so putting that aside, because I could talk about that for 4 hours. I could do a Herndon seminar of everybody, welcome to the Herndon seminar here. Here's why he's going to be great. So, I'm such a fan of the talent. And again, I think the biggest thing, just one last thing on Herndon, then answer the question, but it's the mental. Herndon was hyping himself up. Okay, this is going to be the year last year of being the superstar and realizing the hype and all the mounting pressure from the media and the fans. And he got in his own head. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He really just boned the pooch. Again, fumbles, drops, lack of focus. Adam Gase asked him to block a lot, and then when he got opportunities to attempt to catch a ball, he really struggled. And then, of course, it's the last 3 games where all of a sudden he's like, hey, wait, I think I found it, and then found ways to make it happen. I think the mental reset is from the coaches, the new quarterback. I think he is in a much better place now than he was then, just mentally, before anything else. And I think Saleh said it the other day, and that tweet's been getting a lot of love today, is that, Herndon has been going through the right process. The production will come, and said he's shown flashes so far throughout training camp, and a lot of other Herndon people are coming from the graves and rising up. It's time again to come on up for Herndon. So, again, I'm super high on Herndon. The rest of the guys, again, I think Tyler Kroft is going to make it on the roster. Again, I just think he's an average meh tight end who could just do a lot of things pretty solidly. So I think he's going to be there. Although I'm not sure if he's the best blocking tight end in the world.
Did you say Tyler Kroft?
Tyler Kroft, yeah. Again, I don't know if
he's an excellent blocker. He is an excellent blocker, man.
Who knows if he's the best blocker in the world? I saw you and DJ going back and forth on that.
Well, he's an excellent blocker. He's one of the top blockers in the league, I would say.
I know. I'm just messing.
Especially when it comes to pass block, specifically pass block.
Yeah. So you got Herndon, you've got Kroft, and here's where we get dicey because Harrison mentioned it earlier, so I'm just going to ride that train. I feel like if they try, and for people who don't know, I'll just explain it real quick. After roster cuts happen, players all go through waivers. You can't protect a player initially. When you cut them, anyone can grab them and bring them to their active roster, which is a big sign of concern for Kenny Yeboah. People try to sneak players through waivers, and once you get them to the practice squad and these new rules, you're allowed to protect up to 4 of your players on a weekly basis. So once Yeboah got there, in theory, the Jets could keep him. I don't think he would survive waivers, and I think the Jets know that, so they may have to keep him from that standpoint. So I think they're going to keep around 3 or 4 tight ends. I think Herndon for sure. I think Kroft for sure. And then you get dicey with who else you want to bring. I think Wesco's going to be a fullback, so I don't really even count him in that group. I think he's his own fullback. His roster spot's a lock. But I think Yeboah, Herndon, Kroft are going to be the 3, and the others are all going to get lost.
Interesting. Just on that, before you answer, Harrison, do you think Wesco is going to be a part of it? Like, is he going to take a spot from the running back group? Like, how do you think that's going to fall, Paul? What do you see there?
Yes, I do. I think ultimately, again, the more things Wesco can do, the more likely he is to stay on the roster. But as I said earlier, I think then you go with the 3, that you have Tevin Coleman, you have Michael Carter, and Ty Johnson. I think they dump the rest. And you lose Josh Adams, you lose Perine. And Wesco, again, takes basically what you guys have argued about Perine. Again, I love that we're on opposite sides of the fence. If this was just a podcast about, wow, Green Bean, you're great. Paul, you're great.
Right,
I just agree with everything you say. It would be the lamest show in history. So I love the fact that we all have different takes. But I think, in my opinion, again, is that Wesco takes the power back-ish thing away from Perine, and they just say, you know what, we could get Perine, tight end, fullback, all in the same body. That saves the roster spot. We could save the rest for others. So just to answer your question quickly, I think they have the 3 running backs. Again, Tevin Coleman, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, which could be dangerous with Coleman's injury history, but I think they'll keep some of those backs on the practice squad just in case they need to flip a guy up. But Wesco fullback, and then like the 3 tight ends. Yeah.
Interesting. So what do you think, Harrison? You think you agree? How do you think it's going to break down in the tight end room?
So with the tight ends, it's interesting. Like you guys were talking about the cornerback position. The more I think about it, with liking Hall, liking the competition going on there, I legitimately feel like tight end is probably the weakest position on this team. That's what I'm starting to think.
Sure.
That this is the weakest position on this team. And as you remember, we talked about it, Green Bean, before training camp started. I was, really down on Herndon. And, like Paul pointed out, he's a big Herndon fan. I think hopefully he can be good. I mean, there are some people out there saying maybe he could be great. That would be awesome. I think that ship has kind of sailed. I mean, he was decent in his rookie year. His second year, he had the suspension. When he finally got back, he was hurt. Last year, he had some opportunity. If he can have a 400-500-yard year, I think that would be awesome. Like, that would be great in itself. Like, I don't see greatness there. I mean, if he wants it, again, it's a contract year. Like, that was my big thing. Like, now that the pads are on, earn it. Like, whoever wants it, like, it's wide open. Same thing with the running back committee. If you want it, come get it. Earn the position, be the guy. Before training camp started, like we were talking about, Herndon, he's in this contract year. That's when you're supposed to make your money. Like, what better motivation is that? And throughout OTAs and minicamp, constant drops. Comment with Tebow.
Yeah. I just saw that pop up. That just made me laugh.
Constant drops in camp, and then to the point where he's consistently running with the twos. So when we talked about, Tyler Kroft, again, I do feel, even if you don't want to say top, he's at least one of the better. Like, you have to at least by minimum say that he's one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL, and he's the best blocker on this team by far as a tight end. Out of all of our tight ends, he is the best blocking one. And I think that's why Joe Douglas signed him. He brought him on to be a part of this team. And we saw back in 2017, he was good. He was actually one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Back in 2017 when he played with the Bengals. That year he had 400-something yards, like 100-something, like after the catch. It was really impressive. But I felt, him, Griffin, Yeboah, like you guys mentioned, I don't think he's going to pass through waivers. I just don't see it. I mean, on Ole Miss last year, he was the second best receiver next to Elijah Moore, and he's a tight end with over 500 yards. GreenBean, you'll like this one. My comp for Kenny Yeboah has been Jonnu Smith. That has been my comp. Because if you look at him, just like with Jonnu Smith, he's more of a receiver than a tight end. He's not a blocker, but man, when he gets into open space, he's gone. That's it. He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeboah is very fast for a tight end. So I look at him very much like I look at Jonnu Smith, who is an excellent receiving option. So I don't think he's passing through waivers. I'm afraid he's going to pass through. I figured, they're keeping Kroft, they're keeping Griffin, they're keeping Wesco. I didn't think Herndon would be the guy, but as we were just talking about, since camp opened up, he's been the guy. He's been getting the majority of the catches, the majority of everything at the tight end position, and he's done well. He hasn't dropped it. He's looked good. Since the pads have gone on, he's done exactly what's expected of him. So now that he's playing really well, Kroft was just signed, Griffin's contract. I mean, it comes down to, honestly, are you afraid Yeboah is going to make it through waivers, and what are you going to do about Wesco? I mean, I think they're going to keep 4 running backs because this team is, this offense is based on the running game. The play action doesn't open up without a solid running game. You need a solid running back committee for this offense to work. So I think they're keeping 4 by minimum. So again, it was always Herndon at first. If he keeps playing the way it is now, it's going to be interesting. It's either going to be maybe Wesco or it's going to be, will Yeboah pass through waivers? Do we roll the dice?
Yeah. That's the main question, man. You know what? I love seeing that Herndon is coming out of the dark. And it's for a different reason than both of you, I imagine. Because and I actually said this on Twitter to you, Paul. I said, that's really great to hear. Let's raise that trade value. Because I struggle to see them count on him. I think that's more the issue for me. It's not that Herndon doesn't have talent. He was never really supposed to be what a lot of Jets fans hoped he would be. He did show some things his rookie year, but let's not forget, it was only 39 catches. He was injured his rookie year too, so he's never played a full year. Last year was an abomination for everybody. I do think Herndon has a lot of potential to be that Gase bounce back candidate, as we call it. I think that's there. But again, I think Joe Douglas might fear depending on him because since he's been here, he's been a train wreck. So I think that they might, when they're looking at Griffin, Herndon or something like that, I think he might be able to garner a 6th round pick kind of a thing. And I think that they might end up doing that. And that would make the decision a little bit easier. I agree with both your points. Good. And I'm a big Yeboah fan. And the reason I'm a Yeboah fan is it's not only his on-the-field stuff. It's what he overcame and how he got to where he was at Ole Miss through Temple with becoming a tight end and wide receiver, had to gain 35 pounds. Matt Rule said, look, you're never going to be a receiver. You don't have the chops. And he worked his ass off all the way through that. And then stayed an extra year so he could showcase what he's done. And he had a great year at Ole Miss, sorry. And I think that he fits the mold of a guy that's perfect for development. And I fear trying to pass him through waivers. I fear it because he can play. And but I think you guys are onto something. I don't see Daniel Brown. I think he's the first one out. He just is. And Ryan Griffin's also he's come to play, man. He's not messing around. He's doing quite well in training camp so far as well. I think it's going to be really interesting. But again, I think even with all of that, we're going to take a tight end. We have 4 top 64 picks next year and 3rd to follow it, to wash it down. I think that one of those top 5 picks is going to be a tight end next year, in addition to cornerback, safety, and edge. I think that's what we're doing. Way too early to say shit like that, but I'm saying it nonetheless. That's what I think. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see. That West Coast thing is really interesting. I think I agree with you, Paul. I think they're going to pull him from that tight end equation and make him that fullback role. And then we'll see. Well, I think we'll even see if Morgan Moses does in fact win the right tackle job, which they're saying is an open competition now. Fant comes back and all that.
They're just saying that.
Yeah, and maybe. I mean, but he didn't get the contract of a starter that's locked into place, man. So I don't know. But anyway, let's say Morgan Moses. Let's assume that he does win that starting role. I really like the idea of seeing a George Fant as the sixth offensive lineman on that left side, clearing the path with Wesco lead blocking from Michael Carter. I think nobody's going to get in the way of that. How do you stop Becton, AVT, George Fant with West Coast running full speed behind them? How do you stop that? Like, who gets in the way of that? Right? Like, I think that could be like the wrecking crew. And that's what we have potential to see. It's exciting, man.
Absolutely. And guys, I just want to throw this in. This is random. I saw a comment earlier. I think it was Blunted Vegas that brought this in. I think it's something else we should talk about. The backup quarterback situation. Suddenly, Josh Johnson gets thrown into the mix. So I saw that comment from Blunted Vegas. So just to throw that in the mix, I know a lot of people have been hating on Josh Johnson, the 35-year-old superstar. Now, okay,
I'm hating on him.
I gotta tell you guys, I am a big Josh Johnson fan, and I know a lot of people have said, Josh Johnson, he's nothing more than a camp arm. I'm telling you right now, I believe he is QB2 week 1. And here's the thing, like, Josh Johnson, man, he's been around the block. This is his second stint with the team. And I don't know what happened to Robert Saleh. Was he brainwashed? Did someone hit him in the back of the head with a club and then drag him in the back and do some sort of brainwash thing? Because this entire time at every press conference, I've been preaching, please sign a veteran backup quarterback, please. Robert Saleh's like, nah, man. No, we're not going to do it. And even went as far as to say, it would be a quote unquote cop out if you just add a veteran for the sake of adding a veteran. And then all of a sudden, Josh Johnson, number 9, comes running on the field. Who the heck? And then they announce that he signed with the team. And Robert Saleh goes, yeah, it's great to have that presence in the room. Big ad. I'm like, what the hell? I've been saying that for weeks. What the heck, Saleh? Where's all this coming from? So, but I do believe that is so important. And especially, and again, I want to make sure that this is perfectly clear, the unfortunate, tragic passing of Greg Knapp when he left this earth and is no longer part of the staff. Obviously, our love and everything is sent to the Knapp family, right. Charlotte, his beautiful daughters and everything. Like, that goes way beyond football. But for us doing a football show, we have to keep talking about the football element of it. Mike LaFleur, first-time play caller. Rob Calabrese, first-time NFL quarterback coach. Like, they don't have a veteran in the room. And now they do with Josh Johnson. And I think that goes to another level to have a guy who's been around the block, and especially Josh Johnson, who's super interesting. He's been around the league for 13 years on so many different stints. He's literally he's been a starter before. He's been a role player. He's been a UFL, AAF, XFL. He's been everything. Right. I think that is so cool to have in the room. And plus he's familiar with the scheme, both in San Fran and previous stints with a bunch of NFL teams, that I think that is going to be so cool that when Zach Wilson's in the quarterback room, they're watching tape and Josh Johnson can be like, oh, you didn't see this. And then when he has questions on the field, he has basically a personal quarterback coach. And then when they're at home and he's texting, because of course Zach Wilson doesn't sleep, he's not human, so he's watching tape on his iPad, he's texting Josh Johnson late at night, yo, Josh, what's up with this play? Like, that to me is so invaluable, and so many fans have overlooked that since his signing. And again, I think it is an invaluable ad. He will be QB2. Mark it down here on August 5th.
Yeah, Paul, I love how you put it, and you did a nice chunky segment on this week's Jetzone as well. About this, and I happen to agree, and it's interesting because even though Josh McCown was a little bit more accomplished than the guy we just signed, it's a very similar thing. Like, everybody's really in favor of McCown, like McCown being around for the quarterback and that mentor role. This is a very similar ask that we're of the guy that we just signed, Josh Johnson. So it's like, sometimes it's like negative experience can be very, very valuable experience. What not to do, where the mistakes were made, all those kinds of things. And whether or not he's quarterback 2 or not, I don't know. But I do think that this is a very positive move, even though I was okay like I said before with the cornerbacks, like, hey, if it's an eval year, it's an eval year, whatever. I was okay with it, but I do feel better that there's a vet in the room. Harrison, what do you think about the new fellow that we're strolling out there? Oh, is he number 9, right?
That's
Yep,
right.
yep, number 9. So I actually, on the episode I did earlier today, one of the segments I did was on how the Jets signed Josh Johnson. And Paul, I got to agree with you that it is good to have the veteran presence there, and I think he will make the team, but I disagree with how or where. So with Josh Johnson, yes, he is a veteran presence, but like I joked about on my show earlier when I talked about him, Josh Johnson is a veteran presence in the fact that he's old. Like, unfortunately, that's it. Like, he's a veteran in the fact that that's it, that he's old. He's a 35-year-old quarterback, but in the whole span of his career, he's never thrown for more than 685 yards and 4 touchdowns in a single season. He's only started 8 games ever. He hasn't played in the NFL since 2018. Before that, he hadn't played in the NFL since 2013. And out of this, 15-plus year career, his career stats are 1,632 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. So, yeah, I get, having a guy in the room, that even negative experience is good experience, but I just don't even see experience. Like, I look at Josh Johnson, and I'm like, he's a veteran presence in just the fact that he's old. But I think the reason, and, Paul mentioned, the reasoning I'm bringing him in, I thought Robert Saleh's logic was sound in the beginning when he was explaining it. Because he was saying that if I bring in a veteran quarterback, he has to learn this system anyway, just like these guys do. He has to learn the system, learn the players, learn the plays, and he was intrigued with what he had. So the way he said it was that he's like, well, I want to go into training camp with what we have because I like what we have. But if I feel like we need to, we'll bring in a veteran. And that's what they did. I think the big reasoning on that is because I think James Morgan hasn't really looked that good. So I think that just Josh Johnson on experience alone, again, there's really no actual, doing anything, but just because he has those years and he's older, I think he could beat Morgan unless Morgan really shows up. But my big take, and it's been a take before training camp, I've been saying this for a while now, Mike White, QB2, man. Mike White is underappreciated. When that kid was drafted in 2018, when he went in the 5th round, I remember, as GreenBean, I do a lot of draft eval and QB eval. The one thing that everybody said about Mike White was his football IQ. They all kept coming back to how intelligent he was, how he knew the plays, the reads, the formations. Everyone said that his football IQ was just off the charts. And I can't remember who it was. One person specifically, I remember the quote because it stuck with me. They said it was almost like he knew football beyond his years, is what they had said. So when it comes to quarterbacks, with me, I want intelligence. With me, 90% of the game is what's between the ears. And that's why I loved Zach Wilson so much. So I think Mike White didn't get a chance in Miami. I think he's got an excellent football IQ. I think he's quarterback too. I think even if Josh Johnson makes this team, Mike White is the quarterback too. I think people are sleeping on him and his potential.
I just have to jump in to say this, is that, while you may make fun of the experience of one Josh Johnson, he's played in 33 games in his career. I'll do the honors for you. Let me count you the games that both James Morgan and Mike White have played. So it's 1, 2, 0, none, zilch.
That's the point, though. They're young guys.
They haven't even thrown a single pass in an NFL game. So Saleh would be bonkers to go into a season with Zach Wilson, yippity-doo-dah, in a 17-game season. By the way, and I gave GreenBean, I think it was on his show, I did this fun fact. So I'll ask you, Harrison, just in case you didn't see the show. When's the last time the Jets had a quarterback start a full 16 games in a season? One guy starts 16 games.
Full 16 games. I'm going to have to go with Mark Sanchez.
Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2015. He played 16
I went back
games.
too far.
No, that's okay. That's fine. And I excuse any Jets fan who would do that because, of course, you would. But he did get hurt in one game, but he started it. Geno Smith finished the rest. It was a Raiders game. Besides that, he played in all 16 games. He started every game of that season. So, in other words, in 6 years, we haven't seen it. And now that the NFL season expanding, it's even less likely. Again, I want Zach Wilson to play every gosh darn game for his entire career. I'm just talking about the analytics. The analytics suggest that at some point, Zach Wilson's going to be out for a game. And am I going to hand the keys of the franchise to Mike White? James Morgan? Hell no, I'm not. It's to Josh Johnson. That's why it's important. 33 games of experience. Well, again, his stats, he hasn't thrown for 600 yards. I don't give a shit about any of those stats. Excuse my French. I don't care about any of this stuff because I'm not trying to get an MVP. I'm not trying to get a guy who competes with Zach Wilson. I just need a guy who's been around the block, a guy that's not going to get Luke Falk, David Fales, where they're like, oh my God, I'm in an NFL game. Hey, can I get your autograph while you're sacking me? No, we need a guy who's been there. Josh Johnson will not be stunned by the moment. That to me is, again, the thing that we continue to overlook here. That experience is invaluable. And again, I don't care about the stats. The stat I do care about, he's played in 33 games, and I don't care how many he's started. He's been in games. He's been around the league for 13 years. That means something.
Yeah, it really does. Well, and let me just say this. So let me ask you guys. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the practice squad is 16 players this year, isn't it? Isn't it up to 16?
That is not official, but that is the number that they're sharing right now.
Yet.
Is 16 was a COVID number they created last year that they expanded it. Normally it's 10. So they have an entire system from the new CBA. It's supposed to expand. It was supposed to be 10 to 12. And it was supposed to expand. COVID obviously threw a wrench. Last year was 16. Right. The belief from what I understand is it will be 16 again. But from what I understand, that is not officially locked in by the NFL.
Yeah, so that would be interesting in the event that it is 16, because I haven't heard anything that they changed it, right? Like that they went back or anything like that. So it just seems to me like they're just going to roll with it again.
Yes,
which would be interesting. And that's where like what you're talking about, Harrison, with White, that's where he can still be a benefit on the practice squad and all that stuff. But I have to agree with Paul here, where like if something happens, some scenario takes place on the field during a game, Josh Johnson is going to be able to bounce. He's going to be the guy to bounce things off of. And don't forget, just in the most terrible situation ever, we lost Greg Knapp this year. Now, Greg Knapp was what made it okay to have Rob Calabrese as a quarterback coach, because he's never done it before. He was a quality control coach. And the fact that he's our quarterback coach, Greg Knapp was there to provide the wisdom. So we don't have it. Even with Mike LaFleur, as much as he's done, he's never been an offensive coordinator. He's going to be up to his ears in trying to figure this whole new role out. Now we have Calabrese, who's a first-time quarterback coach, and 3 guys who've never thrown a pass in the NFL. I think Johnson provides that. 33 games, 15 years or whatever it is, 14 teams. A lot of it's negative, bouncing around and all that. Obviously is not what you want for your career. But I think he's going to be the guy that Zach can bounce things off of in the middle of games that we don't have. And I think Mike White is a guy that will pass waivers. He'll be able to make it to the practice squad, most likely. And then we can keep the extra quarterback on the roster. Because I think that we might even go with 2 quarterbacks. And if that happens, that's going to be Johnson, in my opinion. I think that kind of thing is invaluable.
I would have to disagree, because you guys, the whole conversation is about what are the Jets going to do if they have a backup quarterback in this situation. Well, before Zach Wilson had signed, everyone kept asking Robert Saleh how he felt, about Zach not being there, and it was this and that. And he was giving the right answers. On the last day, it was almost like he was fed up, man. Like, I think it was that Tuesday. He was just fed up. And he had enough. And one of the answers he gave was, let's just be real, guys. Like, if we have a backup quarterback in the game, the odds of winning a game are low. The odds of winning anything are low. So if your starter's not in the game, it really doesn't matter, honestly. I mean, if it looks competent and coherent, that's great. But you're not winning something. You're not going to the playoffs. Like, that was
not about when he's not in.
Yeah, I didn't, by the way, I just want to say, I didn't love the answer.
But that's the other thing, too. So you talk about, him.
I'm just jumping in to say, I didn't love that answer from Saleh, because to me, that's a very loser's mentality, because at that time he didn't have a backup. So he said, he's just trying to rub it off. It doesn't matter. It's hard to win a game normally. So why would we even try to upgrade the backup quarterback? To me, that's a very shitty attitude to have. But again, he ended up.
I would say it's an honest attitude. You know what I mean? It's an honest attitude. Like, what he's saying is, obviously you still try to win, but what he's saying is the quarterback is the most important piece on the team. Like with the Packers, if they lose Aaron Rodgers, they're going to try as hard as they can. but it's not the same team. They're not the same team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Like, it's just not there. Like the Matt Castles, those are massively rare examples. They don't happen. And he said that. He said it happens rarely, but it doesn't usually happen. So the one thing, though, with Josh Johnson, like you guys said, forget the backup thing. He's that voice in his ear. He's that veteran presence. See, I don't even know if he's that. Because, again, he's had his opportunity so many times in the league, and I just feel like he's flamed out everywhere he's been. He's never really done anything. So
what is Mike White?
I guess he's but that's the thing, though. So that's the point, though. Josh Johnson has had his opportunity, and he's flamed out time and time again. Again, he hasn't played since 2018 in the NFL, and before that, 2013. You mentioned before, Mike White's played 0 games for a reason. He's never gotten an opportunity. That's the point. You have a guy that had his opportunity and clearly failed time and time again with a guy who didn't get his opportunity. So I think, again, Johnson could make the team on experience alone. I just say don't sleep on Mike White potentially as the QB2. I don't think he's been given the opportunity to really show what he can do. But also, I was even wary about Foles being, the voice in, Zach's ear, because you want a guy like McCown. You want an intelligent quarterback. I'll be honest, I don't know if I viewed Foles that way, and I don't even know if I view Johnson that way. Like, I don't know if he's that guy you even want in Zach Wilson's ear. Like, maybe you just want Rob Calabrese talking to him.
I will just say that, with that mentality, Harrison, none of us have gotten a chance. Any one of it. I'm saying it's within the realm of possibilities that any of us could be the QB2. We haven't gotten a chance.
Different. Mike White was a Western Kentucky quarterback. That's different.
Again, you know what? Mike White, James Morgan, Boy Green, GreenBean. You know what? We have just the same chance. That's why.
Well, that's different. Again, that doesn't really work.
They haven't thrown there's just. I don't know how you can trust a Mike White. Like, to me,
well, you find out. No, that's the point. You're finding out right now. That's the point.
And
my big take. Well, no, I think you will. I think you will. My big take is I think White could surprise people. I'm not saying he's a great option, but compared to Josh Johnson, I think Johnson will make the team. But I'm just saying, don't be shocked if Mike White is the QB2 over Johnson.
I hate to throw this name even out there in the ethos, but when the Jets drafted some guy named Christian Hackenberg, and while they all said he sucked in practice, I still said at the end of the day, no matter how bad he sucks at practice, you spent a second-round pick on him, you might as well throw him out there and see what happens. The Mike White strategy, he didn't get a chance. Let's see what happens. And they never did. So, am I at the end of nights going, Hackenberg could have been that guy? No, I'm like, well, obviously he wasn't good enough. Same thing with Mike White. Obviously not good enough. James Morgan.
Well, then by the same logic, it's the same thing with Josh Johnson. He had his opportunity.
But here's the thing.
Time and time again.
But here's how it all boils down. The truth of the matter is that we lost 26 years of wisdom when Greg Knapp passed away, right? We lost 26 years of wisdom. And believe me when I tell you, he was a very important part of their machine. He was an important cog.
Yeah, we talked about what happened. Yeah.
Just like John Benton is an important cog to the machine. They're the experience to balance it out. Now, when you look at your, like I said, we have a first-time head coach. We have a first-time offensive coordinator. We have a first-time quarterback coach. We have a rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback who's never played, and Mike White who's never played. That when you look at all of that, that is one thing, and it's the same issue across the board. Bring somebody in, sure, you don't. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Harrison, about you don't know how great of a mentor he's going to be, but clearly when they interviewed him and brought him in, they thought that he could be, and that's the thing. It's like, again, so we have to trust our GM, our coaching staff, that the guy they're bringing in is going to fill that role. That it's not there. With respect, I think very highly of LaFleur. I think very highly of Saleh. But the truth is that there's a whole bunch of first-time shit going on right now. And bringing in a guy like Josh Johnson, when Mike LaFleur is doing whatever else mid-game, it's somebody who's been there and done that. It's somebody who's made those mistakes. It's somebody that you can bounce it off. He's been in the league. Dude, most careers are 3 or 4 years. He's been around for 15. So even though he failed at the playing level, look at a guy like Matt Moore. Matt Moore was a perpetual backup. And whenever he came in, he did well, but he never was brought on to be that starter. Why? Because that's his cap. That's where he is. And he still had incredible value for Tannehill and whoever else was there. So I think it's one of those things. I think the fact that they brought him in shows that they've identified the issue. They gave Morgan and White a little bit of time and said, you know what? I think we might want to have some experience in the room. And that's what they did. So I think it's a good thing. And we'll see. Now, I don't know if he's quarterback too. I don't know all that's going to break down. But I do think it's a positive for today that they brought in some experience to bounce around and have Zach, somebody else to talk to and to learn from. You know, like I said, even when the mistake of things not to do is equally valuable of what you do. And I'm sure Josh Johnson knows a little bit about what not to do. So I think that's a good thing. So I'm going to get to a super chat. And guys, we're almost done here. We're actually over time. So we're going to wrap this up in a minute. But I want to honor E-Rock super chat. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the super chat. He says, Wilson will throw for 4,000 plus yards. Davis hits 1,000 plus. And EM, that's Elijah Moore, I imagine, goes 750. Top rusher, Michael Carter, 850 yards. How much TDs? So that's the question. Love the content and great job, guys. How many TDs do you think Michael Carter is going to have this year? And do you think Wilson is throwing for 4,000 yards? We did a game. It's only 235 he needs, 250, something like that a week to get to 4,000. So what do you think?
Even less than that, yeah.
Well, Paul, so it's okay. I'll start with you. Do you think 4,000 is realistic? And how many yards do you think Michael Carter's going to happen before we go?
Yeah, 100%. It's 100% possible. If you just do the numbers and just divide 4,000 by 17, like, again, it is very possible. For him to accomplish that feat, all he would have to do is be, and what it translates to is the 19th passing offense in the league is how many yards he would have to average. So in other words, he'd have to be a below average passing offense to get there. 4,000 yards is not what it used to be, especially back, obviously, when Joe Namath did it. He did it in a 14-game season. So 4,000 yards, 100% is possible. Davis hitting 1,000. Hell, he should have hit it last year. He missed 2 games and had some COVID issues, or he would have hit 1,000. 100% he can with play action. Elijah Moore, 750. To be honest, I don't know if they get 2,000-yard receivers in the same year. The Jets, by the way, the last time they got one 1,000-yard receiver, they got 2 in the same season. That was 2015, Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. So maybe that's possible. I think you're probably a little high on the Michael Carter rushing yards because, again, I think Tevin Coleman's the starter out the gate. Michael Carter eventually wrestles it away. So I think you're probably a little high on the yards, but touchdowns for Carter, probably somewhere in that 4 to 6 range. That's probably what I project because I think other guys are going to get opportunities by the goal line.
Very interesting. And I like what you said about Davis. And it's like, hey, it's all possible. We have some real potential here. That's going to be interesting. And 4,000 yards is not what it used to be. Harrison, what do you think about this? You think it's real?
Yeah. I do. Before we get into, I just want to give I want to give a shout out to David Garrard. He gave an excellent fact that supports.
Wait, David Garrard?
Make before.
The former
it's not the real David. Obviously not the real David Garrard. Obviously not the real one. Obviously.
Great to have you, David.
But yeah, I just shout out because good point to what I was trying saying before. But with the Wilson thing, I mean, we've only had one quarterback who's ever thrown over 4,000 yards. And that was a long time ago. And his name was Joe Namath. And he did it back when there were 13 games in a whole different league.
14.
So that was amazing. 14. So that was amazing that he was able to get over 4,000 on his own. But no one else has done it since. It's crazy. I remember Giant fans all the time, with Eli Manning. I won't let them live it down. They like to pretend now, Giant fans like to pretend, we always loved Eli. That's not the case. You guys turned on him. At the last couple of years, you guys turned on him and said how horrible he was. He was consistently throwing for 4,000 yards a year. The Jets would have killed for somebody like that. I remember all my Giant fans, when I was growing up, we hate Eli. I'm give him to me. I'll take him. Where do I sign? Done. What?
That's funny.
You guys are crazy. But it's definitely possible. And our quarterback bar, I was just saying, is really low. So I don't have the exact number in front of me. I don't know, Paul, if you know, I think our rookie passing yards is 3,300 something, 3,400 something. Zach Wilson can easily shatter that.
Oh, yeah.
Easily shatter the rookie passing yard record. Easily shatter the rookie touchdown record, which I think is also somewhere in the low 30s. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but he can easily shatter those. You mentioned Davis hitting 1,000 plus. I think what's interesting, I think Davis and Elijah Moore could have 1,000. That's what I think. Based on what I'm seeing with Elijah now lately, I think both of them. We could have 2 1,000-yard wide receivers for the first time since we last had 1,000-yard receivers back in 2015 when we had 2 of them in Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. So that could be a really, really special combination. I agree with Paul, though, with MC maybe not having 850 because it's going to be a committee. There's going to be a lot of guys in the mix. I do think MC is going to be the starter over Tevin Coleman, but it could be Coleman. I see his yardage more. It could be that high. I see it more in the 6-7 range. But I honestly feel like with this committee, man, him in the 6-7 range, I think Coleman could be in the 5 range. You know, Ty Johnson maybe in the 5 range. I think this committee could be good for like 2,000 yards if they really work at it.
Yeah. You know, and E-Rock, I really do thank you for the comment. I think this is all kind of realistic. Now, look, we need a lot of things to happen, namely injuries to stay away. But I like what Joe Douglas did, at least trying to account for potential injuries. We have an entire new medical, rehab, nutrition staff to try to get ahead of that issue. So I think we're at least moving in the right direction with that. So if everybody stays healthy, I think these numbers are realistic. For my guess on Michael Carter's touchdowns, let's say he is the starter, just for argument's sake. I think we're going to look at 8 touchdowns from Michael Carter, and that would be incredibly. It is high. I think I'm drunk, but that's how that goes. But so I want to. I think 6 to 8. I think if he's the starter,
drunker you get, the more optimistic you get.
Well, I don't know. It's funny. I said I'm drunk. I haven't had a drink in 11 years, so it's like I don't know. I don't know what I do drunk anymore.
Right.
I don't know what I do.
Congratulations again to you, Green Bean. On that.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's amazing.
That's right.
Being so
No, I'm just hammering these things. See, because this is what I used to work, so I got to drink these.
Wow. So, good luck to your kidneys on that, by the way.
I know. I got to cut it out. I'm addicted. No matter what I do, I do it too much and then I hate it and stop. That's how it rolls with me. But Emanon has a good point. He said Zach has a lot of mouths to feed, which is a nice problem to have.
It's a great problem
and that's the idea we're going to end it on. I want to thank you guys, man. This was really good. There were a few comments right now that said it's really nice to see a group of guys that can go back and forth and disagree and not let it divulge into madness. Like, man, so what? We disagree. We're all on the same team here. It's fine.
That's it, Paul.
It's
okay.
Put 'em up. Yeah. It's okay to disagree. The truth is that it's going to be really interesting. It looks like we just might have a little bit more fun this year, which is all we really want when it boils down anyway. So why don't we do this, guys? I want to give you the opportunity to plug whatever you got going on, and I'll start with you, Paul. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and what they should do if they want to hear more of Boy Green?
Of course, and why wouldn't you? I mean, come on, inject it right into your veins, baby. I'm Boy Green 25 everywhere. I make it easy. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I just hit over 600 subscribers. Not quite Matt O'Leary 10,000. I'm one of those peanuts, one of those peasants on the bottom. We're working our way up to that. So I've got exciting things coming out on YouTube. I'm going to be doing training camp previews of the rest of the AFC East, so Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, with a couple of insiders from each of those teams, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then once we get into the season, hopefully doing a lot of engagement. We're getting Green Bean, Harrison, and other Jets content creators on the channel. I'm hoping to do that as we get closer and closer to the season. I think that would be a lot of fun. And, of course, the weekly podcast, the Jetzone. I've been doing that for a decade. I love it. It's my first baby. I don't care what else I'm doing. I'm never putting that away. I love doing that. That's one of my first babies, and it's my. I guess now it's going to be. It's going to have a second child on the way. I guess combining with those two, but that's my first baby. So I love the Jetzone. I love doing all this. It's so cool to meet other content creators and get to engage with all the fans and stuff. So YouTube and follow me on Twitter. Verified blue check mark, baby. I got a big ego, so keep hitting that follow button. Okay.
There you go. You're official, baby. And that's when you know you really are important, when Twitter gives you the blue check. I don't know if it'll ever happen over here. But, so thank you.
I'm waiting for it too,
Harrison.
man. They say the blue check is supposed to be if you're a real person. I don't want to do. I have my own website, my own company that's registered in my name. I use all the same picture for everything. I'm like, look at me. Like, I'm real. I'm right here.
Where's my check? Let me see. I look really. So, Harrison, why don't you while I try to figure out why my face is so red, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and what you have going on?
Definitely, man. So one of my favorite things I do is my podcast. It's Monday night live on YouTube. I love the fact that it's live because as a lot of you guys, shout out to a bunch of you. Like I see all you guys in here. A lot of you guys come into my show. We talk about it. We get into it. It's so much fun. The last one I did last Monday was a whole training camp breakdown. I did one today about the highlights of training camp. So again, it's Monday nights live on YouTube. It's a live chat. So you can bring your questions, bring your comments. We go back and forth. It's a ton of fun. You could find it on YouTube at the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. That's what it's called. The Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. It's part of my company, Take Flight Media, where we write and report on the Jets. We have a website, takeflightmedia.org, as well as you can find me on Twitter. I, again, give takes, opinions, but I also give facts, stats, interviews, media, videos, all of it. Find me there at NY Jets, TF Media. But like Paul said, I really appreciate if you guys can subscribe. Trying to get my followers up. Again, I'm at like 3-something now. Really, really appreciate it. If you guys can go to YouTube. Again, it's the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. If you can subscribe, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday nights.
Yeah, man. And both these guys put out consistently solid comments. There's only a few people that I listen to consistently, partially because I don't have the time to listen to everybody else. But both of these guys are on my list. I mean that sincerely. And I think you guys would be better off if you were to subscribe and start listening to them. Obviously, you can see tonight, they're incredibly passionate, incredibly knowledgeable. Jets fans first, and that's what's so great about them. So with that, guys, I thank you so much. This was pretty killer, and I thank you so much. I look forward to the next time. And with that, chat, thank you. You guys are the best chat in the business. I love you guys. You can see that metal kid. That's my son. What are you doing in here? Why are you still awake? That's not supposed to be the way. I got to go inside and talk to him. But with that all said, have a good night, everybody, and we thank you for stopping by and hanging with us.
2009, they rode the Mangini Express, Rex did, right to the AFC Championship game. Then they built upon that and got to the 2010 Championship game. And then it came. The worst offseason in New York Jets history.